You got to stand up, stand up, stand up. Yeah. Okay. Look at that. Well, and you military. What is your but it miss the people. They miss their wow. And then wow. You know you look so fine. You would have been a true girl.
A China-based telecom company is facing criminal charges in the U.S. A federal indictment accuses Chinese telecommunications company Hytera of stealing walkie-talkie technology from Illinois-based Motorola
They always
Solutions.
steal
They say
stuff.
Hytera recruited some Motorola employees in Malaysia to steal proprietary data, access Motorola's internal database, and then describe plans to use the stolen info at Hytera. The former Motorola distributor says it's committed to honoring the intellectual property rights of others. Motorola's executive vice president says the charges underscore the calculated and deliberate character of the Chinese company's illegal conduct. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News, Chicago. How do you celebrate when you're up for not only an Oscar but an EGOT? Lin-Manuel Miranda tells the New York Times the first thing he did when his song from Encanto was nominated was scream for his entire neighborhood to hear. Then he jogged all the way across the George Washington Bridge and back. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News. Ever have questions about your prescriptions? Even when you weren't? Well, Walgreens has pharmacy chat 24/7. So you can ask an expert about things like the correct dosage of your medications or possible side effects. Speaking of side effects, the side effect of getting your questions answered at 2 a.m.? Sleeping much easier for the next 6 hours. Try Pharmacy Chat today or tonight, online or on the Walgreens app.
It's time to wake up. Jim James. When you turn on the TV at night, can you even recognize the country you see? The secular left wants to destroy our country. They want to tear it down. Our leaders tell us that our country is racist to the core, that looting and burning down cities is normal. And there are 50 genders. And that's what they're teaching to our kids. This is about our children and our children's children. Jim James. And if you disagree with these left-wing bigots, they'll get you fired from your job. Hours later, this may be our last chance to get it right. Jim James for governor. We're going to stand against the things that are not in the interest of our people, and we're going to be relentless, and we're not going to compromise. It's a tough time for our state and our country. We need strong, serious leadership. It is time. Learn more at TimJamesGovernor.com. Paid for by Tim James Governor 2022.
She's great.
You ought to be you ought to be a little bit more conscientious about drugs and addiction. You don't know nothing about drugs. That don't mean the people that take them don't need any sympathy.
That's their problem.
Okay, I got
Absolutely
you.
their problem.
I got you. I'm gonna take that theory, I'm gonna take that logic, and I'm gonna turn that shit on you so fast that
You
I'm
don't
gonna
have to
shut
take
you
drugs.
up.
You don't have to take drugs. Don't take the stupid stuff.
Don't you know what if good? What if good?
Your WSFA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440. This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
Next time you say something about being on FM, I'm like, well, you ain't got to be on talk radio.
Well, that's
You ain't got to
true.
talk on the radio.
But you don't have to.
And I'm not on AM, so I don't care.
But taking drugs is a completely voluntary thing. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
No. There are plenty of people that are addicted to drugs that were made that way because they were put on drugs by physicians for pain management, and they got addicted to drugs that way.
And I wonder what
And
the
they're also-
percentage. I wonder what the percentage of people who take illicit drugs are started with a doctor's prescription.
I don't know, but there's a good many of them out there.
They quit.
Just, Kevin, you know something, just quit. That's like telling the sun, hey, just get some sleep. No.
Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. Right now, things are looking good. No major problems or accidents being reported. There was anyone on an all systems moving into the Tri-County area from Clanton already
Okay.
free. No problems on Highway 8014 coming in from Selma and 231 south out of Wisconsin north. Out of
I mean, we all got issues.
Light traffic. Keep listening. We'll keep you posted. The physical fence, keep your back safe and at home.
And they won't get to get off. They can't.
Professional training and experience by
Because
Vicky
you don't
TJ
understand
and Trace make all the difference. Invisible Fence, 265-2585. Buckle up, it's the wall. Montgomery Skywatch traffic. This is Big.
I'm like him.
Better price, better experience, guaranteed. 239-9510.
Good morning. I'm
Yeah, that's true. When you get a certain age, and it quit for you.
Where someone stole a low forklift and then used it to steal an ATM from Regions Bank on 2014 overnight. That forklift was left at the bank. And last check, Prattville police have not made any arrests. Regions is helping police with that investigation. The committee is looking at new names for Jeff Davis and Lee High Schools in Montgomery. Out of the thousands of names submitted, 10 remain for each school. The top name for Jeff Davis right now is Carter Hill. The top name for Lee is Dr. John Winston. The MPS school board will have the final say.
Of course not.
Any name
But the
change.
Democrats are the only
Olympic
party
Team
that say they
USA
do
first
when
gold
they don't.
medal in the Winter Games. Lindsey Jacob Ellis took home the gold in the school board cross. The 36-year-old is competing in her 5th Olympic Games and becomes the oldest
Y'all are the people
in
that
that
keep
sport.
thinking that the
As far as
Democrats
total
care
medals,
about black folks.
Norway leads
That
the way right
Biden
now.
care about
Team
black
USA
folks.
is
Right.
in 10th place.
You want to keep them on
That's your
drugs
news
and keep them
Wednesday.
dumb.
Jeff Davis in the newsroom.
GiveMeTheVin.com is a 5-star better.
You're addicted to running your mouth.
But
And you couldn't shut up if you wanted to.
I ain't trying to break that addiction. But I ain't asking the president to give me free this. He's pumping. He's making.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about it. I don't hear about it.
He's exacerbating the problem.
We back it up. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buy. Sell up your car.
Underwear.
Attention Alabama voters, stand by for a Republican election alert. President Donald J. Trump has endorsed conservative Mo Brooks for U.S. Senate in the Alabama Republican primary. Trump endorses Brooks for Senate. Speaking at a rally here in Alabama, President Trump repeatedly praised Mo Brooks.
Mo is someone who has fought harder than anyone else in Congress. He's got courage. He's an honest guy.
He's an honest guy.
With conservative patriots like Mo Brooks fighting for us in Washington, I have never been more confident that we will defeat the radical left. Your next U.S. Senator from Alabama, Mo Brooks.
That was President Trump endorsing Mo Brooks for U.S. Senate. Conservative Mo Brooks, the Trump Republican choice for U.S. Senate. Paid for by Club for Growth Action, clubforgrowthaction.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Mike Durant, Black Hawk pilot, POW survivor. Mike Durant, fearless patriot, courage in combat. Mike Durant, job creator, family man, American hero. Mike Durant is the fighter, the leader, the conservative outsider Alabama needs in the United States Senate. Mike's not afraid to stand up to the woke mob in Washington, and he won't be bullied by radicals hell-bent on giving our country away. Mike Durant will defend our borders, secure our elections, and stop the runaway spending from the left. He'll take on the corrupt establishment, and he'll never forget why he stands. Alabama conservative, American hero. Mike Durant for the United States Senate. Paid for by Alabama Patriots PAC. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.alabamapatriotspac.com. Alabama Patriots PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Ben here with Just Blinds in Prattville. On behalf of the Myers family and our entire team here at Just Blinds, we want to sincerely thank you for selecting Just Blinds as the best, your number one choice for blinds, shutters, and drapes in Central Alabama. Just Blinds has been delivering on our family's commitment to provide quality window treatments at affordable prices and to deliver the absolute best in customer service before, during, and after the sale for over 35 years. Please visit us online at gojustblinds.com.
As Alabama's next senator, Katie Britt will protect the sanctity of life and never apologize for it. Katie Britt helped President Trump confirm Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, two strong conservatives who respect innocent life and our Constitution. Now Katie is ready to take the fight to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to stop their radical pro-abortion agenda.
I'm Katie Britt. As a Christian conservative mother, I know that life is God-given. I also know that I've had about enough of radical liberals lecturing us about following the science, while being okay with taking the lives of innocent babies in the 9th month of pregnancy. Where I'm from, that's called murder. And this mama, I'm not going to take it. I approve this message because saving babies starts with sending more pro-life moms to the U.S. Senate.
Christian conservative Katie Britt. She'll fight tirelessly for our pro-life values. Paid for by Britt for Alabama, Inc.
He is the voice of the conservative millennial, the Ben Shapiro Show.
They're not going to be willing to keep the government shut down.
Today at 3 p.m. on News Radio 1440.
And let us say.
Sometimes you need to reset, refocus on your day. The moment where you take a deep breath and change the focus from the problem to the problem solver. This is Decisions with Kevin Elkins.
And good morning, Montgomery, Alabama. It is time to rise and shine once again, if you can. It is another day that the Lord has made. Good morning to you. I'm Kevin Elkins, and this is News Radio 1440. It is time for our daily bread, a word from on high, a word, hopefully, that will change your perspective and change your life. Thank you very much. Anyway, good morning to you. It is February the 9th, 2022 AD. Today's daily bread is simply entitled Morality and Humility. Our scriptural insight today comes from James 4:7 through 17. James 4:14 says, "What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Govern yourselves accordingly and remember that." Again, it is February the 9th, 2022 AD. It is a day that has never been before, and it is a day that shall never, ever come again. And once it's gone, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to summon it from the past. You don't get to come back and do all the things you should have done this day. But more importantly, you don't get to come back and undo the things that you did. So whatever it is that you do this day, February the 9th, 2022, Make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done this day. There's no doubt in my mind, if you've lived a while, you've seen, you've heard many, many yesterdays. And if we are blessed and given the grace of God, because each day is by his grace only, but if we are blessed and given the grace of God, we may, I'm not sure, but we may see some tomorrows. Benjamin Elijah May said that whatever we do in life, we should do it so well, that no man, living, dead, or yet born, should be able to do it any better. And I say, if that is the standard by which you live life, you shall always be successful. Oh, you have failed at a thing or two. After all, we all have. But you will never be a failure. Never. As long as you don't quit. You don't give up. You keep moving. Martin Luther King said, if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, you keep moving forward. You just never quit, because quitters don't win. And winners, where they may fail at a thing or two, they will never be a quitter. So don't you quit. And no matter what happens this day, remember this. This day is like all the others. It is a great day to be alive. Morality and humility. That is our daily bread for today, February the 9th, 2022 AD. Good morning to you, Montgomery.
Welcome to today's encouragement from Our Daily Bread. Today's reading, titled Mortality and Humility, was written by Win Collier. Ancient scholars Jerome and Tertullian reference stories of how in ancient Rome, after a general triumphed in an epic victory, he would parade atop a gleaming chariot down the capital's central thoroughfares from dawn to sunset. The crowd would roar. The general would bask in the adoration, reveling in the greatest honor of his life. However, legend has it that a servant stood behind the general the entire day, whispering into his ear, "Memento mori." Remember, you will die. Amid all the adulation, the general desperately needed the humility that came with remembering that he was mortal. James wrote to a community infected with prideful desires and an inflated sense of self-sufficiency. Confronting their arrogance, he spoke a piercing word in James chapter 4, saying, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. What they needed was to humble themselves before the Lord. And how would they embrace this humility? Like Roman generals, they needed to remember that they would die. You do not even know what will happen tomorrow, James insisted. You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. And owning their frailty, free them to live under the solidity of the Lord's will rather than their own fading efforts. When we forget that our days are numbered, it can lead to pride. But when we're humbled by our mortality, we see every breath and every moment as grace. Memento mori.
Memento mori.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from James chapter 4, verses 7 through 17. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning, and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against a brother or sister, or judges them, speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment on it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you, who are you to judge your neighbor? Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. Let's pray. God, thank you for the reminder that our lives are temporary and that the praises and admiration of others may feel good in the moment, but it has no lasting value or benefit. In everything we do, may it be to bring you honor. And when we receive praise, may we always redirect it to you. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thanks for listening. I'm Stephen, and today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Well, it's time to rise and shine, Montgomery, Alabama. It's time to get up and take on the world. Don't worry too much about tomorrow. Just let's see if we can handle this day. All right? Time for PT. Come on. Where's that airborne choir at? There we go. All the way. All the way. Gotta be rough and tough. Boldly, have you heard? Boldly, have you heard? We're gonna jump from a big iron bird. We're gonna jump from a big iron bird. Stand up, look up, shuffle to the door. Stand up, look up, shuffle to the door. And look right out and count to four. Look right out and count to four. If my main don't open wide, if my main don't open wide, I got a reserve by my side. I got a reserve by my side. Here we go. Here we go. All the way. Gotta be rough and tough. Hey, la, hey, la, hey, la, hey, la, well, G.I. said, G.I. we're so glad we didn't join the Navy. Well, G.I. said, G.I. we're so proud that we're here for. Here we go, all the way. Every day, all the way. Oh, yeah. Airborne, baby, airborne. It's time to rise and shine. Couple more days of this work week, and we will be off for another couple days. All right, anyway, good morning, everybody. That ought to put some grits on your plate or some. that ought to put some SOS on your cream beef or on your toast, whatever. Anyway, it's time to rise and shine, Montgomery, Alabama. It is a new day. It is a new reason to be thankful for this day. And if you're listening to this stuff this morning, that means for the time being, we are still the great United States of America. Good morning to you. Good morning to the Montgomery Sanitation Department, Montgomery Sheriff Department, Montgomery Maintenance Department. Just hello, everybody. All right. Hey, good morning to all the people who go in when everybody else is running out. Right now, that won't be me. I'm the guy that's coming out of there. Okay, I'm just saying. Thank you very much.
till we meet once more. It's best to do a happy morning song. We're always ready for the call.
Yes, we are.
We place our trust in Thee.
All right.
Through valley, gale, and shock, and sail to win our victory. Sing the promises of God, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to our God. I constantly fight for you. On we go into the wild blue yonder, far behind.
Take your seat.
Here they come, soon to be our thunder.
Okay.
And we die.
And good morning, Maxwell and Gunner. It's after all, it's an Air Force town. And we got to pay homage to the Air Force out there. Can somebody please bring back the 141, please? Hey.
Listen, man, when I started radio back in 74.
Oh, 74.
Yeah. 74. My friends would come, and I'd be on weekends, right? I have weekends, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning. Saturday afternoon, my friends would come over to the radio station, right? We'd be out and do it. And they would be on the other side of the glass like this. It would be a control room, then you hit the studio. They try everything on earth to crack me up while I'm reading the news or doing the weather. And they're standing there, you know, and they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, you got me today.
You got me. It was, and that was your thing. Maintain.
Yeah, well,
do not laugh. Do not laugh.
Okay. Well, you got me on that one. Bum, bum, bum. Nothing quite like a good hand salute first thing in the morning. That's right. Reminds me of the time I was knee deep in water, in the swamp. Can't tell you where I was. It was a top secret mission. Destination unknown. All I know is I was wet. I think we were just training though. I'm not sure where I was. But there I was, cold, about this time of the morning. 70-pound rucksack on one shoulder, an M16, heavy boots, and water, and snakes, and turtles, and all kinds of things in that water. Getting a little bit of hypothermia, but that's okay. I was tough. Okay? That training, the Ranger Battalion, is not a place for wusses. Okay? I'm just telling you. Not a place for wusses. Okay? If you're a wuss, call your recruiter back and tell him, hey, okay, I can't do it. But there I was. I'll tell you the rest of this story for the end of the year. Okay? I'll tell you the rest of this story. Okay? Right now, I'm still trying to get my honorary Marine Corps thing. That's a long story, too. We don't want to go through that. Because this is the last year I'm going to tell that story, and then I'm moving on. Okay? Because obviously, it ain't going to happen. Okay, but I do understand something last night that I was talking to a couple Marines, and they said everybody gets a set of dress blues now. So you don't have to be the, he did tell me, I was at the VA yesterday, he did tell me that the problem with having dress blues is that every time there's a ceremony, they want you in it. So yeah, I don't know. May not be maybe they knew what they was doing. Anyway, good morning to you. I know, okay, I always say stay out the past. Okay, I'm with you. I ain't living back there. I'm just recollecting on it every once in a while so I can motivate myself. A lot of interesting things. The President of the United States is doing something that now I find no merit in it whatsoever, but some of you may. But it just goes to show you he's probably the worst president we've ever had in my lifetime. But that's okay. He's still the president, so we good. I give him that respect. He's still the president. It may not be a very good one, but he is still depressed. Okay, he is POTUS, the president of the United States. He got a program in the other day. He got a program. Okay, now the president of the United States. Now listen to this for now. I want you to listen to this to show you how far and how stupid that America, some of us, have become. Now, I'm doing what I do mostly most nights. You know, I'm going through there, cruising through the news, seeing what's going on, and I come across BlackEnterprise.com, Black Enterprise magazine, great magazine, great magazine. And one of the top articles they were proud of. As a matter of fact, they're not that proud of it now because once it started getting around America, they took it down last night. But not before I saw it, not before I copied the text of that article, so I could talk about this one. Nope. I got it. So now if you go there right now, they took the article down. They say page not found. So what was that article that they took down? Well, from blackenterprise.com, it says Biden administration is going to fund the distribution of crack pipes and syringes. Now listen to this dumb statement, the dumbest statement I've ever heard out of any politician's mouth in my whole life. The Biden administration is going to fund the distribution of crack pipes and syringes to promote racial equity. Oh, Lord, can he be that stupid? So you're going to take a neighborhood and a community that's already depleted of too many of the potential great human resources we have, and you're going to give them crack pipes and syringes to create racial equity. Okay. All right. Okay, that's it. Logic and reason, those are my friends. Those are my friends. I like those two guys, logic and reason. Okay. Now, is there anybody out there? I'll let you call right now. This call won't even count. Is there anybody out there that absolutely thinks that this is an appropriate thing for the president of the United States to give people money so they can put more syringes and crack pipes for racial equity? What kind of so in other words, you want us to be just as dumb as everybody else is? Okay, I got you. All right. Anyway, Black Enterprise magazine took the article down, but not before Elk Dog got it. I copied the whole thing, and I'll read it to you. I'll share the article with you. Biden administration to fund the distribution of crack pipes and syringes. Okay, okay. Listen, I can. There's a little bit of me that understands why they do it. There's a little bit of me. Okay. Well, if people are gonna, and here's a rationale. I love rationale. That's the cousin to logic and reason. I like all three of them, but they all got to communicate the same way. So I understand. Okay, we're gonna do this because people are gonna take drugs anyway because they own it, and that's just the way it goes. So it's better that we give them some clean needles. We give them some clean crack. Some clean crack pipes. Maybe we'll cut down on AIDS and HIV and that other thing that you get when you share these kinds of things. Okay, so a little bit of me says, well, I don't like it, not even a little bit, but okay. My imagination can stretch that far. However, but here is where I get the rub, and here is where it just falls apart. It falls apart. You are going to do this for racial equity. Okay. Now, I don't know where that thought came from. I'm going to give the black people syringes and needles, so they be just as crazy, just as addicted, and completely addicted as white people are. Well, listen, with that kind of equity, just keep me in the closet. Keep me like the crazy uncle. Put me down in the basement. Don't let me out but once or twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving. Okay? I don't need that kind of equity. And if there's a fool out there that believes that can even slightly agree with this, agree with his purpose, racial equity. We're going to put crack pipes and syringes for racial equity. Okay, I got you, brother. All right, then. If this ain't the biggest fool ever been in the White House, I don't know. Okay? I mean, some things y'all not say. Some things you just all just leave it alone. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? Anyway, so if I was from a different world and I accidentally took a left turn in Mars and then ended up on Earth, I'd get the hell out of here. Okay? I would get the hell out of here. Wrong place. They giving out needles and crack pipes for racial equity. Yeah, we need to just take off right now, and maybe we'll get to Venus before night. Okay, I'm just telling you, something's wrong with that. Anyway, we'll be back after this with the with my traditional thing. All right, we'll be back. Praying for the meek.
Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blinds to blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop Blindster today and save big. Blindster.com.
Another beautiful day on the way today for our Wednesday. It's a very cold start with frost out there in the upper 20s and low 30s. Keep that in mind as you head out the door.
That's true.
But sunshine today will warm us up nicely into the mid-60s. We'll hit 65 degrees with a wind around 5 to 10 miles an hour. So a really nice day. Tonight, another cold one down into the mid-30s with mostly clear skies. And another day with plenty of sunshine tomorrow. We're in the upper 60s and we'll hit the low 70s on Friday with more sunshine. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury for News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch traffic brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. It is cold out there and windy, so please use caution. You may want to get out early this morning and start your car before you head out. Send one of the kids out, crank it up. As far as accidents go, we are good. Keep listening. We'll keep you posted. Whether you're ready to buy or refinance your home, with the lowest rates, the best customer service, and the fastest closings, there's only one company. Call NCS in Wetumpka, 567-9000, NMLS 232876. Buckle up for Montgomery Skywatch. This is Major Delay.
When it comes to tires, ball ain't so beautiful. It's time for a tire makeover at Chico's Auto Pros. Better price, better experience, guaranteed. 239-9510.
On February 7th, 1926, famed Black author Carter G. Woodson launched Black History Week, which would eventually become Black History Month. Carter G. Woodson felt that by creating a space dedicated to acknowledging Black accomplishments, it would not only create tradition, but create endearment for those inside and outside of the Black community. Cumulus Media celebrates Black History Month.
Make your mark with historic savings during the President's Day event at Allison Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Save big on your new Ram truck. They have more coming every day. And be presidential. And the all-new Wagoneer. It's here now and ready for you. Plus, your trade-in has never been worth more. They give you the most for your trade-in. The best vehicles are always at DallasAutomotive.com. Where you drive a little and save a lot. For credit, finance, and Chrysler Capital, Dillard, James Alphager, and CFC for details.
Reliability engineering specialist positions offered by Green Manufacturing Company in Montgomery, Alabama, responsible for supporting activities needed to develop and implement reliability plans for water products. Works with product engineering and core team members to ensure reliability objectives are achieved and signed off before product launch by using failure mode avoidance FMA tools and methods, i.e. boundary diagram, interface analysis, E-diagram, DFMEA, DBP, and Power BI data analytics. Please send resume to erica.pinckney-adams@beam.com.
Subscription offer. Guys, eat great and lose weight with Nutrisystem for Men. Get our new premium meals with up to 30 grams of protein. They're big and filling and taste delicious. Plus, try our new restaurant faves that taste like your favorite restaurant portion with half the calories. Beef and bean burritos, toasted ravioli, sesame beef and broccoli. Easy to prepare and made in minutes. The secret? Advanced nutritional science that helps keep your blood sugar levels steady and you losing weight. With Nutrisystem for Men, you get your breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and snacks all delivered right to your door. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/fast right now and get 50% off. You heard me right. Go to Nutrisystem.com/fast right now and get 50% off all plans. Don't wait. This special offer will not last long. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/fast right now and get 50% off. Go to Nutrisystem.com/fast.
Do you need cash? How about an equity loan on your home, mobile home, land, or even automobile? Mortgage Corporation of the South. We've been serving Central Alabama for well over 25 years, and we've helped folks cash in on the equity of their homes, mobile homes, land, and automobiles. The cash can be used for anything you want, and the great thing, your credit does not have to be perfect in order to be approved. That's right. If you've had a prior bankruptcy or slow payment, if you have equity in your home, that is your equity. You've built it up, you've paid for it, and it's yours. You can get it. So get the cash you need, use the money for whatever you want. Now, let's shift gears for a second. If you have perfect credit, we have some of the lowest rates that you'll find anywhere for refinances and home purchases. And the best thing, we offer 1 hour loan approvals. That's right, 1 hour loan approvals. Call us at 567-9000, 567-9000, or ncsloans.com.
It's time to wake up. Jim James. When you turn on your TV at night, do you even recognize the country you see? The secular left wants to destroy our country. They want to tear it down. Our leaders tell us that our country is racist to the core, that looting and burning down cities is normal. And there are 50 genders. And that's what they're teaching to our kids. This is about our children and our children's children. Tim James. And if you disagree with these left-wing bigots, they'll get you fired from your job. The hour's late. This may be our last chance to get it right. Tim James for governor. We're going to stand against the things that are not in the interest of our people, and we're going to be relentless, and we're not going to compromise.
It's a tough time for our state and our country. We need strong, serious leadership.
It is time to fight back.
Learn more at TimJamesGovernor.com. Paid for by Tim James Governor 2022.
Telling it like it really is. It's the Dan Bongino Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440.
Okay. And good morning, everybody. Hey, I want to say good morning to Terrence down there in South Kakalaki. Down there in Fort Jackson down there. Nice that you tune in, young man. Always good to see a friendly face. Another super duper paratroop from the 82nd Airborne. Hurrah! All right then. Younger generation. Younger generation. He's a little tougher than I was because I didn't make it to the desert. All right then. Good. Want to say good morning to Tap Yates, all the way up there in Washington State. Up there, former member of the 2nd and 75th Ranger Battalion, along with my other buddies over there. Some of them anyway. I don't really remember too much because when you're private, you don't know nobody. You know, I mean, I finally made it to PFC, but I was there, but I really didn't know anybody. I was wondering why. I was always wondering why they worked the hell out of me, and then I tried to figure it out. I looked at the picture of it and said, okay, that's why. Just a PFC. I mean, private first class. That's why they work the hell out of you. I mean, that's what privates do. Anyway, so much for that. Moving right along to other things. It is time for Lessons of Life And word of the day. And the word of the day is now, some of you guys, you may know the meaning, but you haven't really heard the word. Okay. And the word is elucidate. That's right. Elucidate. Elucidate. Now, I am an expert at this word. Now, you may not like my expertise in it, but I'm an expert at it. Okay. The word of the day is elucidate. And what does that word mean? It means to make something clear. I'm pretty clear in the things that I say. Okay. So I'm an elucidating son of a gun. Okay. So when your teacher, when you get to class, and if you don't understand something, just raise your hand, be respectful, say, Mr. Johnson, can you elucidate on that one more time? Now he'll look at you kind of weird, but maybe he'll figure it out what you mean. Okay, I'm just saying, maybe he'll figure it out. Okay, so elucidate, make something clear. Now, the lessons of life. These are things that you learn by living. You can read about it, but you don't really learn it until you live it. Okay, you can write a book about it, that's fine, but if you haven't lived it, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So these are things that you learn. We call these lessons of life. And the lesson of life today is this one. Life and time are the best teachers. Life teaches us to value that time. Time teaches us that there is no greater value than life. So that's what I talk to people about, that whole abortion thing and all that stuff, you know. Well, you can't tell me what to do with my body. And that may be true too. We can't. But if you do not have life, you have nothing. And for us to devalue it is a shame. Life and time are the best teachers. Life teaches us to value that time. Time teaches us that there is no greater value than life. And that is the lessons of life today. And the word of the day, elucidate. Okay. Now, these are some of the things that happened in history. It was on this day that Martin Luther King Jr. and Paul Laurence Dunbar. Now you probably never heard of him. Paul Laurence Dunbar was born on June the 27th, 1872, to two formerly enslaved people from Kentucky. He became the first influential Black poet in American literature and was internationally acclaimed for his dialectic verses in collections such as Majors and Minors in 1895, the lyrics of Lowly Life in 1896, but the dialectic poems constitute only a small portion of his canon, which is replete with novels, short stories, and essays, and many poems in standard English. In its entirety, Dunbar's literary body is regarded as impressive representation of Black life at the turn of the century in America. He died in 1906 on this day at the age of 33. All right. Also on this day, Alice Walker, the author of The Color Purple, was born. And on this day in 1952, Ralph Ellison's novel Invisible Man won the National Book Award. And on this day in 1965, Martin Luther King met with President Johnson to discuss Black voting rights. Also on this day in 1995, astronaut Bernard Harris was the first Black to take a spacewalk. It was also on this day in February 1964 that the Beatles made their first live American television appearance, The Ed Sullivan Show. Not that I really was a great fan of the Beatles, but you know, it is what it is. I never really liked the Beatles. It just didn't do it for me. Okay. 1861, Jefferson Davis was elected the provisional president of the Confederate States of America and at Congress held in Montgomery, Alabama. We held Congress down. No wonder we're all confused. In 1942, the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff held its first formal meeting to coordinate military strategy during World War II. Daylight savings time, wartime went into effect in the United States with clocks moved 1 hour forward. The SS Normandy, a former French liner being refitted for the U.S. Navy at the Navy New York Pier, caught a fire. It capsized early the next morning. In 1943, the World War II Battle of Guadalcanal in the Southwest Pacific ended with an Allied victory over Japanese forces. And one of the reasons why they had that victory, probably one of the greatest admirals to ever be in the United States Navy, besides Chester Nimitz and a couple of those other guys, was what was his name? Because I read about him. I know. Anyway, he took over Guadalcanal. What was his name? Man, how in the world can I Admiral? Well, I'll get to that name a little bit here. I know. I mean, I read all about him. What's his name? Okay, see, this is sometime I remember, and sometime I know all about this. This guy's my hero. If I could just think of his name right now. See, Admiral. Okay, I'll get back to his name a little bit. In 1950, in a speech in Wheeling, West Virginia, Senator Joseph McCarthy, a Republican from Wisconsin, charged the State Department was riddled with communists. You know, now back in the day, we probably thought that was weird, but I think we still got some. In 1960, Adolph Coors Company Chairman Adolph Coors III, 44, was shot to death in suburban Denver during a botched kidnapping attempt. The man who killed him, Joseph Corbett Jr., served 19 years in prison. In 1964, G.I. Joe action figure was introduced to the American International Toy Fair in New York. The year was 1971. A magnitude 6.6 earthquake in California, San Fernando Valley, claimed 65 lives. The crew of Apollo 14 returned to Earth after man's third landing on the moon. I'm still trying to figure out why we keep going to the moon. Okay, I just don't know why we keep going. I mean, okay, maybe there's some. I don't know. You know, maybe there is some. Maybe there's something going on up there that we don't know about. Okay, maybe there is something about that moon that they're keeping a secret from us. I don't know, but we keep going up there. We don't bring nothing back. Okay, we bring some rocks back every once in a while. We'll bring a couple of rocks back. Okay, but we don't really bring much back from that moon. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that alone, and I'm gonna leave that alone, and we're just gonna move on. Anyway, moving right along. Oh, Admiral Halsey was his name. William Halsey Jr., as a matter of fact, was his name. Okay. And that's probably the reason why we won, why they kept Guadalcanal, because he was one of those guys that didn't do everything by the book. And you know, it's okay not to do everything by the book when you win. But when you lose and you didn't do everything by the book, you know, they come down on you with 2 feet. Okay, I mean 3 feet sometimes. But he was one of those admirals, one of those officers who just did what his gut told him to do, and he was pretty much successful in every command that he had, and we're going to attribute his leadership at Guadalcanal for stopping the Japanese and their aggression toward the rest of the world at that particular point. 1984, Soviet leader Yuri V. Andropov, 69, died 15 months after succeeding Leonid Brezhnev. He was followed by Konstantin Chernenko, whatever his name was. Chernenko. Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, I'm not Russian. In 2002, Britain's Princess Margaret's sister, Elizabeth II, died in London at the age of 71. In 2005, Hewlett-Packard chief Carly Fiorina was forced out by the board of directors, ending her near 6-year reign. Actually, I thought she was actually a smart old girl, I have to tell you the truth. But anyway, I wasn't on the board of directors. And 10 years ago, President Barack Obama at his first news conference since taking office to urgently pressure lawmakers to approve a massive economic recovery bill. Okay, do Republicans get in there and want to spend money right off? Okay, I mean, I don't know, because I really never paid much attention until the last couple of years, because like everybody wants to spend lots of money. I mean, I'm not an economist, But I do realize that if you keep printing money, at some point the money's not going to be worth very much. Okay. 1 year ago, President Donald Trump signed a $400 billion budget deal. Well, I guess that goes in answer my question. That sharply boosted spending, swelling the federal deficit. The measure ended in a brief overnight federal government shutdown. Anyway, that's one of the things that's going on right now. That's some of the stuff that's happened in this world. All right. On this day, nobody ever knows everything that happens in history, but we'll be all right. We'll be okay. All right. Well, anything else? Anybody want anything else? Oh, let me give a good shout out to. I didn't realize that we had a new chamber. We got a new chamber president. His name is Cedric Campbell. See if I can get him up here, because them chamber presidents don't really get around too much. I mean, since Willie Durham was in there, he come up here and talk about it, but you can't really get the rest of them to come up here and talk. I'm gonna see if I can get him to talk about chamber too, since everybody was always dogging the chamber. We need the chamber. Anyway, I gotta go. So see you later.
On News Radio 1440.
Good morning, I'm Jed Davis here with the news.
So we go to the moon because it's there.
What you do is Steve Reed said everybody had to eat a plant-based menu.
Take that menu and
take it to the public schools and making them have vegan Friday.
No. And that's Friday. It's a good thing that the city has meant to do the school. Of course, the county don't really have
And when you realize that's what the mayor of New York City did. Well, they wasn't an idiot. What Mayor Reed did that. You got to talk about that. Talk about New York City going to plant-based.
Is on its first gold medal in the Winter Games. Vincent Jacob Ellis took home the gold in the snowboard cross. The 36-year-old is competing in her first Olympic Games and becomes the oldest medalist in that sport. As far as total medals, Norway leads the way right now. Team USA is in 10th place. That's your news on this Wednesday. I'm Jed Davis in the newsroom.
News Radio 1440 is WLWI AM and 95.1 HD3 FM.
This is the CBS World News Roundup, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Governors of 2 more states are expected to announce today they're phasing out indoor mask mandates. Restrictions could be eased in both New York and Illinois, where parents have been staging angry protests outside schools.
It's my children. They're my responsibility to teach when we're out here now and to get the masks off.
Governors of Massachusetts and Rhode Island have scheduled news conferences to address mask mandates in their schools. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says massive trucker protests are undermining democracy. They're also threatening to disrupt the supply chain between the U.S. and Canada. Correspondent Janet Shamlian is in Ottawa.
How long have you been out here?
I have actually been out here since last Saturday.
Monty, who did not want to share his last name, is one of hundreds of truckers blocking the roads around Parliament, demanding an end to vaccine mandates.
We're going to sit here as long as it takes.
With the streets blocked, about the only supplies coming in are from volunteers. The city's mayor says he needs another 1,800 police officers to keep the peace.
In this country, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is breaking with the Republican National Committee for labeling the January 6th attack on the Capitol a legitimate political discourse.
It was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
McConnell's also criticizing the RNC for censuring Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger over their participation in a congressional investigation. If you've been waiting on another stimulus check, you're in for a big disappointment.
You've probably seen the videos on Facebook or YouTube with the title, Sending Out $2,000 Checks for Everyone. 4th stimulus check. Sounds great, but don't hold your breath. It's false. None of the videos followed through with any proof of a payment coming, because there isn't one. Congress hasn't enacted a 4th round of payments yet. Additionally, the IRS says no payment is imminent right now. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
36-year-old snowboarder Lindsey Jacob Ellis is the first American athlete to win gold at the Winter Olympics in Beijing.
Don't count the little girl out.
Team Russia won gold for team figure skating, but the medals ceremony has been postponed on short notice
over what the IOC calls an emerging issue. Los Angeles Police Chief Michael Moore promises Sunday's Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium will be safe.
While this is a substantial draw on all public safety resources across this region, we have ample resources.
There are concerns after a 49ers fan was found badly beaten in the parking lot at the NFC Championship game last week. This is CBS News.
Rocket Mortgage is giving away millions during Super Bowl 56 with the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes. See rules and enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if, like a lot of people, you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's a Christian healthcare sharing program. There are more than 400,000 members now, and they love it. In fact, MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to that of health insurance. And MediShare really is the gold standard when it comes to healthcare sharing. It's been around more than 25 years. Members have shared more than $4 billion in each other's medical bills. Plus, MediShare is for you. It has saved its members billions by advocating on their behalf. Best of all, the typical savings for a family is around $6,000 a year. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and you are invited to be part of it. Call now, 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE, 866-88-BIBLE.
A star pitcher isn't out of the woods yet on criminal sex charges.
Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer has been keeping busy with a YouTube video blog.
Okay, Tosh and I are off to Harbor Freight.
He hasn't pitched since June 28th after baseball put him on leave because of domestic violence accusations involving a San Diego woman and rough sex. Now the Los Angeles Times reports Bauer is unlikely to face criminal charges. He could still wind up with a suspension under baseball's domestic violence policy, although he'd be expected to appeal that. Bauer is called his accuser a habitual liar and says he did nothing wrong. Peter King, CBS News.
The winningest woman on Jeopardy is making a new move.
Amy Schneider, congratulations. What a run.
Schneider, who took home almost $1.4 million during her 40-game winning streak last month, says she's quit her job as a software engineer and she'll be pivoting to public figure. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Man, I just came downstairs. I didn't see you. Where you at? What, didn't you see me come out there a couple minutes ago in a white car or something like that? Okay, well, I'll be back down second.
As Alabama's next senator, Katie Britt will protect the sanctity of life and never apologize for it. Katie Britt helped President Trump confer Supreme Court justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. Two strong conservatives who respect innocent life and our Constitution. Now Katie is ready to take the fight to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to stop their radical pro-abortion agenda.
I'm Katie Britt. As a Christian conservative mother, I know that life is God-given. I also know that I've had about enough of radical liberals lecturing us about following the science while being okay with taking the lives of innocent babies in the 9th month of pregnancy. Where I'm from, that's called murder. And this mama, I'm not going to take it. I approve this message because saving babies starts with sending more pro-life moms to the U.S. Senate.
Christian conservative Katie Britt. She'll fight tirelessly for our pro-life values. Paid for by Britt for Alabama Inc.
Hey, Christy from American Estimore, the rustic furniture outlet, and Wolf Boys Bedding.
Just make an inventory more many items. That cost or below.
This is your chance to save big on many scratched, dented, and one-of-a-kind items.
Fine dining chairs, just $45.
Box springs are $10.
Good cabinets, just $100.
Rustic king beds, $2.99.
Four model mattresses, $100.
Rugs from $39.
Benches, $25.
Rustic coffee tables, just $100.
Full-size bookcase bed, just $50.
Rustic consoles, just $2.99.
Nightstand, just $50.
We don't have time to list them all here, so go to our Facebook page for any more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're talking about that.
I've been saying for almost 30 years.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle.
Me too. Oh, I made it downstairs back up in 2 minutes.
Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You can adjust the volume right there.
Why invest when you can invest? Why invest when you can invest with Masterworks? Masterworks is the new platform that lets you invest in blue chip work supplies. Picasso, Monet, and Warhol. So we'll ask you one more time. Why
You know,
when you can
they had a case last week where they're talking about a correction officer who got 9 years in jail. Listen, if you sit there and let people get beat up under your control, you know, you come just you worse than they are.
He's a high-ranking correction officer.
Man. I don't know what it is. Okay. Not exactly sure what song this is. I just turned it up and and it came on. So I'm going with it. That sounds like some of that pyrotechnique kind of music back in the 80s, whatever that is. Because back in the 80s, I was so lost, I don't know what the hell to do. I mean, I was just really lost. Germany, places, Central America. Sometimes I didn't know what country I was in. Oh, well. Anyway, good morning to you. It's a great day to be alive. I got a guest, my every other Wednesday guest, and it's Carlton Avery. Carlton, you may know him. He is a former candidate for the city council, former, how many times? Twice? You came close once.
That's right. That's right.
You really came close once, and you came closer than I did.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for the welcome music, Kevin. I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something to motivate you. Nowadays, you like a private investigator for a law firm and all that. I don't know what you do.
I'm average Joe Blow, just trying to help the city and make it better.
Okay. And if you can help yourself along the way, nothing wrong with that either.
That's right. You got to help yourself first.
You got to help yourself first with it. So, what's on your mind, man? Carlton is coming up here to give us some equilibrium here. He's going to give you a different point of view, of course, mostly than mine. Most people I know have a different point of view than mine. That's cool. I can live with that. But again, there are 3 things that must be involved in your decision-making process: logic, reason, and common sense.
Right.
Now if we missing one of those, we can make it through the process. But if we're missing 2 of those, okay, we might well just stop and just go to something else. Okay, right. I'm just saying. All right. So, what's on your mind?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about this morning, I kind of heard the show when I'm on my route down here, but we're talking about Black history, a lot of things Black history this month, and what concerns me, and this is going to be a trigger word, but the critical race theory. And we look at just 60, 70 years ago, we had people that were integrated schools. You had different schools where kids were young as my mom's age at that point. She's like 5 years old, integrating schools, and now they're trying to not teach that in schools, to teach the the progression and what has happened in our school systems in the nation. And so my daughter, which is 14 years old, she has not learned that. She doesn't know much about what the struggles, especially Alabamians, face in integration, and I think that's concerning. Anytime there's no, whenever you wipe out history, whether it's good or bad, I feel like that's a problem.
You and I are going to disagree on that, but not necessarily for the same reason. When the EJI place was built, the first day it opened, word came back to me that a little Black child, and I subsequently found it was true, knocked the hell out of a little white child and said, "That's for what happened to my people."
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he's misguided.
Again, no, he's young. He's young. The problem with CRT, college level, I don't have a problem with it. But the problem is when your mind is young, when it hasn't experienced anything but what you just heard, then you don't know how to make a qualifying conclusion based on the lack of knowledge that you have or the life experience. At college level, you can ferret out those things. But if you try to, in my mind, now I'm gonna let you have it. But in my mind, if you teach like that little child did, if you give it at such a young age, the only thing they're gonna remember is these negative things that happen. Okay, and that means shit. But again, it didn't happen to them. Didn't happen to you. It happened to people older than us. And I think it almost takes people a little older than you anyway, to have that conversation. It was what it was. You cannot undo yesterday today. So my question to you would be, what is the purpose of the lesson? And tell me how it will manifest itself in today's environment.
Well, I can tell you when I was growing up in school, they said learn history so it doesn't repeat itself. And I think that as a young child, certain things that if I had learned earlier in life, it may have changed my trajectory.
What? Right now, you good young man. You got your act together.
Right.
What do you believe learning about that negative past will change your trajectory?
Well, I just think it's important to know it gives you some basis and bearing about, what your family has gone through. Even like I didn't even know certain things about my own family because it wasn't taught in school. Therefore, I didn't question it. But my parents came from very, I just say very low. They came from low income families, and they worked hard.
Most black folks did come.
True. But I didn't know the history about St. Margaret's Hospital. I didn't know the history about Jackson Hospital when it started. I didn't know the history about the elementary school that my mom went to, Penn-Lala Elementary School. And I think that sometimes, not sometimes. I think it's important to know history so that you can figure out how you fit in. I mean, where to go. It's kind of like a relay race. So one generation does one thing, and then they pass the baton, and you do another thing. But if you don't know the foundation in which your life is built upon, I mean, it kind of throws you off a little bit. So the little child that hit another child at the EJI, that child may have been a little bit misguided, and it should have been taught to him in a different way. But I don't say eliminate history altogether. And
I'm not saying eliminate it, but I do believe that there's a maturity. It's kind of like say they call you new Christians and old Christians.
Right.
There's some people that have you that you shouldn't eat meat because back in the day they gave meat. The butchers would cut meat and give it to idols.
Right.
Okay. So some say, well, you shouldn't eat meat. Well, okay, that's a misunderstanding of the scripture. But I understand they say it may confuse people. So my thing about, again, it depends on who you're telling it to. I believe you have to have the ability to compartmentalize and separate fact versus fiction.
Well, what history do you teach then? So do you eliminate history altogether in the school system?
No. But here's the problem. None of us know everything about history.
Right.
No matter how many degrees you have, you don't know.
Well, when we talk about misguided youth now, I mean, kids don't know that in this very city, some of their ancestors helped pave the way for the civil rights movement.
And some of them don't care.
Well, the fact is, I think if it's infusing them in an early age, I mean, they're in school and they're learning things that, like the Pythagorean theorem, I never used in my career the Pythagorean theorem, and it didn't make a difference. But I would have much rather learned about
back up that. What theorem was that?
Pythagorean theorem.
What the hell is that?
Well, it's something that's taught in geometry. So.
Oh, that's why I missed that one.
Right. Right. But that's part of the curriculum, right? And so we learned. I had an advanced high school diploma. We learned had 2 years of a foreign language, and even in those cultures, their history is taught. So my thing is, how do you decide what is to be taught and what is not?
Let me ask you a question. The Pythagorean theory?
That's right. Theorem.
Excuse me very much. Excuse me. Does that affect you every day?
It is. I've never used it.
Exactly. You're making my point for me.
I spent half a semester learning about it.
Right. But it's irrelevant.
Well, my thing is, why
hasn't changed your life one bit.
Well, but I think that if I had a chance to replace that with some African American history, that would have gone a lot further for me. I mean, I would have appreciated that a lot more. Like, these kids don't even know who invented the light bulb, the first heart transplant, the traffic light that we see every day is invented by, Black Americans. And that's important.
I think, and I can agree with that because we use the traffic light every day.
We use a cell phone every day.
But the protagonism, whatever that was.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
I got you. Let's go to Funk. I don't know nothing about that one. Good morning. Who's this? Pretty good.
Good morning.
Listen, I wanted to call because I thought I heard something, but I want to get clarification. Kevin, you gave the example of a little black boy and a little white boy there, and something happened. The black boy hit the white boy and said, "This is what happened to my people." In your guess there, I think you said you understand it.
No, I didn't say I understood it. I said that child was misguided. Now I don't appreciate what happened, but I will say that history that's not enough of a reason not to teach history about what happened to both races. I mean, you can't teach American history without telling the truth about America. And I'm not saying go out here with the fish rays in the air and talk about this or that, but I think it's important to tell the struggles of both races. We talk about the German and the Jew. I'm sorry. Yes.
Hey, do me a favor. Call me back because your phone is killing me. I don't know what's going on with it, but you can call me back. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Hey, two things. One, I think history is very important. You have to teach history. Now, there's a difference in saying that the people today are responsible for the actions of yesterday. That's two separate things.
I agree there.
And then I'm gonna argue with you, man, about the tobacco and clear.
Okay.
Everybody,
Yeah.
Everybody in construction knows what that is.
Right.
Because you use that to make sure things are square.
Okay.
So now the problem is that nice lady in geometry class gave you the real uses of how you would use it in the everyday world, just like many other things in school, just like reasons you need to understand history.
Right.
If the teacher gave you a better understanding of why this is important, instead of you need to know this, then I think we would be more apt to learn it and want to understand it.
You're absolutely right. I can't disagree with you.
Even I agree with that.
One syllable that I cannot disagree with. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right, appreciate it. And I believe that was the part I was trying to get to.
Right.
If you're going to teach it, then what is the purpose of teaching it if it's not to incite people to feel negatively about another people?
Right.
And I'll give you we gotta go to a break, but I'll give you my if my dog bites you and I beat the crap out my dog for that couple of seconds right there, you're gonna say, right on. Next time, yeah, I got you. But you come into my house 6 weeks in a row, and I beat the hell out of the dog every time you show up because he bit you 6 weeks ago. Now, at some point, you're gonna look at me and say, hey, that's enough. Start beating the dog. You got him one time, bam, leave it alone. You're gonna turn to be on the dog side, even the dog that bit you.
In this metaphor, is the dog the school system or is your house a school system?
Well,
I have to come to your house.
It's the people. It's the people we want to keep, like he was saying. That we keep talking to the people of today as if they had something to do with what happened 70, 80, 60 years ago. They don't.
Just like when we learned in Western civilization about Martin Luther and Stalin and all. I mean, it was important to know. It was important to know that so we can make reference to what's going on today. So I'm not saying teaching in such a contentious way that it's going to divide, people, because we're all Americans. But however, when we teach American history, it's important to teach about every culture, in my opinion.
But in that case, no man knows all of history.
Right.
Not even all American history. So no matter who's telling the story, they're leaving many things out.
Right. But we should do more than just preach the topic of African American studies here. And
we got HBCUs. We got HBCUs in America. How much time do they, Alabama State University,
right.
HBCU, do they have a Department of African American Studies?
Well, I'm talking about educational curriculum, second, elementary and post-second and then secondary.
What grade do you believe is appropriate to learn these things?
I think it's important to learn from the moment you start learning history. And I think if you stop teaching it in such a divisive way, and instead of saying, hey, let's have African History Month on February, if you teach it and you inject that all in history in the curriculum together and you teach it consistently, then that unifies the student body as well, instead of just waiting.
Well, I got to tell you, at almost 65 years old, every time I think of the things my mother told me what happened to her in Mississippi, it pisses me off. Even at this stage, I ask myself, how in the hell can people do that to people? I don't know if there's ever going to be an appropriate age that that would make this history palatable. Right. I don't know. It still makes me angry now that my mother was treated in such a bad way. So I rather just not deal with it. It was those people back in those days, and because why do we want that anger to resurface every couple of years?
Because you don't need to teach it in a contentious way. There's a way to teach.
Well, I'm only going by what my mother told me.
Right, but she taught it to you, and there's probably some gruesome facts in that. But when you're in a school setting, you can teach it in such a way that it's not contentious.
Right on. I hear you. That's a theory. We'll be back after this. Okay, brother, you got me in the morning with that what the hell that was?
Pythagorean theorem. Now, I guess construction workers do use a lot more, but they have instruments now that they do it. So
yeah, I understand I know the principles of it, but you got that. I wouldn't sleep in that class.
No. Yes, I've never used it.
Man, and that's what I find about a lot of things. And if you think about it, if we go to school for 12 years from kindergarten to high school,
right,
and we take 3 months off a year, that's 3 years of time in school. Yeah. We don't need 12 years to go to high school, but they do it to give people a job and something to do. But half the crap we learn, we never use again.
So what I say is, why not teach more about economics? Why not teach more about banking in school? We have people that
the day-to-day things that you're going to have to deal with every day. Yeah.
Taxes.
Mesopotamia. I don't give a shit about Mesopotamia. I don't care about the Quinta de Santa Maria. I don't care.
Teach about taxes. Teach about economics. I miss home ec courses. I never took one, but.
So we shouldn't have shown Roots. Listen. Roots didn't help the brothers and sisters. It did. It made a lot of people pissed off.
It did.
It's what it did.
But following that principle, then that means the EJI system. The EJI museum is.
I hadn't been to it. I won't go to it.
Well, I have.
I don't see what I already know. How people. And here's another thing. If you don't believe that some white folks went down there and get red on. Crazy.
Well,
okay.
Sure.
I just don't think there's too many relationships between blacks and whites in Alabama and Mississippi that are great. That one would put their lives. We never hear about those stories.
Right. Well, I don't know because the Gretz family. They were
right, and that's one of thousands of relationships.
In Virginia Durham.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So,
right.
But we don't talk enough about that, and like I said, we don't need to just show people get hit in the head with batons in Birmingham.
That's all we see.
We need to talk about how we as Americans came together and it really re-strengthened our local economy. Because when you had the bus boycott, it affected that negatively. When people didn't ride the buses, I don't think it's ever bounced back.
Economics.
That's black. That's every color.
That's the power.
Exactly.
And funny thing about it, no matter how bad people want to treat you, you had your own money and you could do with it what you wanted to do with it.
Exactly. But I think if it's not a better combination of American history to include a lot of other cultures, then we should just We should just restrict it to just the the U.S. Constitution.
See, your
President Trump repeatedly praised Mo Brooks.
presentation of this is a different presentation than most people will give. Okay, it's all about what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, from a historical standpoint, I get you. But again, I don't believe, and this is just me, I think you at least ought to be in the 11th, 12th grade before you even broach the subject. Because I'm telling you, I'm 65 almost. It still angers me what happened to my mom.
And I agree. And trust me, my mom has had similar stories. My dad has had similar stories.
Right, so I'm just saying, I don't want to know the bad. Tell me the stories of the good folks.
Well, talk about the freedom fighters. Talk about how how this
who were black and white.
Yeah.
And the boys that died in Mississippi.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
talk about that.
There are a lot of people. I mean, I just
you don't. But then the more gruesome facts lead it up to the EJI. But at the same time, in fourth grade, when you start learning Alabama history or U.S. history, you can't learn.
Does it move the progress meter further?
I think so. I think if as a young child, if you learn about the U.S. Constitution and the amendment that gives you the right to vote, I think you don't take that voting serious. I mean, you take that vote very seriously when it's your time to vote at 18. But if you don't know about it, if you don't even know the struggles that came to get you the opportunity to have the chance to vote, you don't appreciate it. That's my thought. I can remember being inspired by the fact that women, the amendment that allows women to vote as well as blacks to vote.
We could have left the women out.
Well, you can't. It's in the Constitution.
Yeah, you could.
Can't pick and choose. But I remember being inspired enough to say, okay, I'm going to make sure I vote.
Again, everybody don't have to think the way I think. Our numbers are 860-1440. Carl Navy's with us this morning, a former candidate for city council. And I imagine, again, I think you'd make a swell city councilman there, young man.
Thank you. Good morning.
But you barely passed. I normally talk to nobody under 35. So you barely hit my my radar. Let me go on the phone for a second. See who somebody wants to say something to. Let me see if we get that. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning.
Yes.
Kevin, like for people to believe, we didn't write the history book, so what's in there, someone else put it in there. Now they get so they don't want you to keep what's in the book. But Kevin's philosophy is, he likes us to keep that. We're the happy Negro and everything.
That's not true. That's not true. Okay.
We live with that. It was good.
Yeah, okay.
And so Kevin, you need to play that song.
That's not true. That is not true.
You can talk about the Holocaust to their children. The Japanese can talk about what they did to them when they put them in the concentration camp, right? Everybody can talk about their history, but the black people.
You know why? You know why? The problem is. No. Well, let me get my problem here. History should be used to propel you, not to keep you where you are. We're the only group of people in America right now that's still whining every day about what happened and not doing anything really about it.
A lot of us have got educated and moved on, but we want our families to know what happened to them just like everybody. We don't have an ancestor we can look back to because we were taken and split up. We don't even have our own name, and you don't even want that to be called.
Well, now listen, that's the only part about this whole culture issue I'm ticked off about, because my name might be Django or something. I don't know.
And the reason why
Yeah.
is that they don't want their children to know how their ancestors treated a human being.
But you don't think, okay, but the problem is, does it move us as a race of people forward? We're still crying right now. We're crying this morning. But right? Well, we lost that talent. Yeah, we right. I see him. But I don't know. Wait a minute. I don't know if material possessions signify movement. and some life insurance. Okay. All right. All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I think anyway. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello?
Yes.
I don't know quite enough about CRT to say what's right or what's wrong about CRT. But what I do know is that on September 10th, 1894, a little over 100 years ago, the United Daughters of the Confederacy were established.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that the United Daughters of the Confederacy were established with the sole purpose of telling their glorious fight, of telling the story of their glorious fight against the greatest odds that a nation has ever faced. And with that, they began naming streets, naming cities, naming high schools, and placing statues in almost every state and almost every city that they could. So when you speak about the telling of the history of it, and you say that there's not relevancy to it or who's alive, okay, well, let's go back. We've seen the pictures. We've seen the pictures from the last 60 to 70 to 80 years of those little white kids that are standing around looking at the murders of those black men and women. We've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
Where are those little kids now? Are those little kids all dead, or are some of them perhaps leaders in the House and Senate, Congresses of this country?
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
I mean, so when you say that it's not relevant, Kevin, I need you to be really, really careful with that. I'm not here to defend CRT or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my defense point.
Right.
What I'm saying is simply this. You have a group not made up, the United Daughters of the Confederacy were established with the sole purpose of telling us all of their story.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. And I didn't say it wasn't relevant. What I said was, what is the purpose of telling it if it does not move us forward? And what is wrong? Then what you said, then you have given us the roadmap right now. If they were persistent on telling their history from their perspective, then are we as Black folks, can't we tell that same history in a way that moves us forward rather than an albatross around our neck of the past?
Yeah, look, and I'm going to answer that, but I apologize. I'm going to have to answer it with a question. With their persistence, they did it through books. They did it through education. They helped us choose the books that our kids are learning from today. So is it possible that those same people, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, and those kids they spun off, are now trying to stop Black people from using CRT to tell what is our history, what is our truth? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just proposing that to you as a thought of consideration.
The Jewish people took what happened to them, and they have amassed a great deal of power out of that circumstance. The Indians have amassed a great deal of wealth out of what happened to them. Okay, it seems to me that every group of people that are undergoing some trials and tribulation have done their due diligence and to amass power from their experiences. We, as Black folks, as a whole, have not figured out how to take that past and turn it into something of substance, except complaining.
I think we've gotten off on a tangent of Black versus white, and it's truly not, because I've learned this. Well, I'll just say my philosophy about it. I've garnered from talking to people from many different backgrounds, and so this doesn't need to go into a Black versus white thing. We've got enough of that, and I think at the end of the day, that is how we get lost. We get involved in a Black. But now wait a minute.
Truly, don't confuse my brain here, because the people who wrote the history were white. The people you're talking about are Black.
Well, let's talk about
how are you going to get Black and white out of it?
Well, you talk about the systems and the other cultures that have amassed such wealth and power.
Right.
Well, they got into their own systems. They didn't try to integrate.
And so we could do that.
Well, we still can.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
So that's not anybody's fault, but ours.
Well, I think we've subscribed to, like I said, the ideology and the philosophy of having a unified America. And I think we should. I think we can, but we have to engage with every part of it, not just who's going to particularly choose any certain books and certain curriculum.
I hear you. Good morning. You're on there.
Good morning, Kevin.
Yes.
What's your guess's name? What you do for a living?
My name is Carlton Avery.
What?
You cut out.
Did I miss him? Hey, I hate to say that, but you can call me back. I hate to say it. I don't want to hear from you again. But I accidentally got ready. Sorry about that, but you can call me back. Good morning. All right. Quickly.
Hey, good morning, friend. How y'all doing?
Fine.
Oh, good. I think my whole 3-4 guys. Well, I saw something y'all talking about this morning. 1:15.
Mm-hmm.
He said so beautiful. He said, for the day of the Lord is near upon all people. And thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. Have a good day and now. Have a good day, my friend.
All righty then. Good morning. Who's this?
Elton,
Yes.
you know, the University of Alabama has taken the name Bill Graves off one of their office buildings up there.
Considering the history of Bill Graves, his name should never been up there.
But it was.
Hey. So Quentin Ross can't make a case and get rid of it? If they've done it at the University of Alabama, it seems like to me that ASU be able to do it too. Yeah.
Well, like I've always said, Ricky Washington is my favorite study, and we skip was an important part of economic development in this country, and that was building wealth through owning your own manufacturing company, land, and farming, whatever, and we went straight to education and trying to get back ahead with education instead of building wealth through owning land.
Of course. Now you can't really build wealth unless you can read and write. So that's for sure. So you got to have an education, but a relevant education, I think, is the point.
So that's one of the things we watch the film. He said, how can you get ahead? You can't read and write. You know, why don't you go to a university and try to get a higher education? You can't read and write until you don't even own a house.
Now, wait a minute. Let me correct you on something. Somebody just sent me a text said Bill Graves has been removed from ASU. Wait a minute, from ASU, and has not been removed and from this flagship school of the state. He said it has not been removed from ASU from Alabama.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, but it's in the process. What I said. Like I said, Ricky Washington said that we should have skipped the main process of building up the land, development, owning businesses, and jumping trying to get education to the head instead of owning your own businesses, and starting your own factories and so forth and so on. That's my point.
All right, then. Our guest, Carlton Avery, is with us. 860-1404 is your number here. Want to give us a call? Love to talk to you. Good morning. Who's this?
Mr. Avery.
Good morning.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a legal professional. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it. I just need to have a perspective about
who you are. Yes, sir.
You said you don't use the Pythagorean theory in your profession. How about a carpenter? Would he use it?
Well, I spoke on my profession. I would have guessed so.
But you act like it was no need to learn such a thing.
Well, for me, is what I was saying. I don't know if maybe Kevin can replay that portion of it, but for me, I would have rather learned more about African American history. There were a lot of things that we.
But if you're a carpenter, you use the Pythagorean theory just to square off the building
Right.
and laying it out.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you a question, Mr. Avery. Do you know how many children in the third grade read on level?
Not a lot, and I can tell you that our school systems, that information is.
Could we agree on this, Mr. Avery, that if you can't read, it's no good to teach them anything?
I I can't agree with you on that. So you're saying
Let me just give you a quote, Mr. David, in the Black history. You tell me who said this. There is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well, because as long as disease holds out, they have only the easy means to make a living, but also an easy medium through which they make themselves prominent before the public.
Didn't Booker T. Washington say that?
Booker T. Washington said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
That's how it might be true with you.
I imagine you learned that in school.
No, I didn't learn it in school, Mr. David.
Maybe you should have.
I did. Well, you didn't know this.
I just
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Hell, I knew the answer to that.
No, Kevin and I are looking eye to eye.
Doesn't that apply to you?
I can't say that it does.
Listen, I wish everybody who, and I appreciate you, I wish everybody who had a different opinion of mine would articulate themselves the way Carlton does. I don't necessarily agree with the CRT thing but again, I don't mind the lessons being taught, but I think it needs to be at least in the 12th grade or 11th grade. Anything lower than that, I don't believe the mind is mature enough to digest and logically disseminate that information. But that's just me.
I can appreciate your standpoint on that, Kevin. I really can. I can see that does make some sense. I just say that if you're going to teach it at all, teach it in a collaborative way to involve all cultures. Whenever you start, if you start teaching it all in 12th grade, teach it all.
But now we also got Samoans as part of the American culture. Now, do we got to carve out a place in?
If you're going to teach history,
Samoan,
if it's a part of American history, you
okay.
You know.
Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Kevin. This is Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I got a good one in this perspective this morning. I had my child at the playground one day playing with some white kids.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we showed up, the lady grabbed the kids and hauled it. And that made me think one day to determine why these kids are raised to be that way. Didn't I tell you not to bring that person home with you? And then they teach you that at an early age. So I went down to this EJI downtown one day, and they got these standards, maybe about 30 of them, that tells you what went on a long time ago. And then in 2 hours, I made it to the third one. My wife and kids had already went around, and they were ready to go. But it just blew my mind of all the information that I didn't learn somewhere at an early age. And my buddy was out in, another good one, my buddy was out in, he was a recruiter out in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And why I didn't know about the Wall Street burning. I mean, but the other thing you told me about Christopher Columbus.
You probably don't know about Lake Kalauja, where that town was a black town.
But he who tells,
but
he who tells the story tells history.
Right.
Right. I'm just saying, it should be people. As a matter of fact, when Dr. King had his march in Montgomery, and they down there locked up all the blacks, and they put the kids out there. All this stuff was learned at an early age anyway. So why are we playing games on one side you want to teach? Can I use a good one? I'm going to leave you alone. I was sitting here at McDonald's one day with a couple of veterans, and a guy showed up and said, "You just give us $100 if we can name 5 African kings." And that kind of blew my mind. We're taught everything else. I mean, what the heck is the problem?
But that's not our culture. Our culture is not of kings. We were born and raised in America. Well, I can't tell you 5 English kings.
He was taught some mathematics
Mm-hmm.
never used. That's irrelevant. It just should be taught, and we'll pick and choose what we think.
And also, and some stuff about in Western civilization, like I made reference to Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, but there's a leader in Western civilization, Martin Luther, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've never used that.
Never. Hey, appreciate it. Somebody sent me a note says so we shouldn't have shown Roots because some folks acted badly after the viewing.
Well, Roots wasn't shown in schools, and if it wasn't shown without a permission slip.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
That was in 77, though.
well,
77, 74, 75.
but there were some schools that showed portions of Roots, but it was only with the permission slip sign.
But so they had the same thought that I had. Okay, we can show this, but if we do,
part of it was Roots.
we don't.
And so I'm not saying teach the most colorful portions of it, but teach it in a way where people can understand it, so people can identify with who they are, where they come from.
All right, gotta take a break. We'll come back right after this message. Our guest this morning is Mr. And he's gonna join me a couple of times a month. Let's get a politician up here, and we're gonna talk more. I love people who disagree and who can articulate what they think. Now it's rare to make me look stupid, but every once in a while it happens, and I have to go back and read a book. But again, books don't necessarily tell the truth either. So we're gonna move on from that.
That's true.
Anybody who tells the story
has their own skewed perception.
That's why you shouldn't get a degree in history.
You shouldn't.
Because nobody.
Because you don't know you're not an expert. You've
Right.
never been an expert.
And you because history is everything every man, woman, and child has ever felt, seen, or done. It just we're just not.
I mean, even if you look at the Bible is King James. You know, most people use the King James Bible.
Yeah.
And it was sent out by King James to be translated, and by 11 translators. It took over 7 years, or maybe it's 7 translators in 11 years. But bottom line is that there's many different variations of it.
But see, this is where I think people should be mature to digest whatever particular history that they know. Because we hear all the bad things. And it still angers me to think that my mother, who was just born in the 1930s, would be treated in such a way because she just happened to be black. It pisses me off today still. So I'd rather just say, okay, and here's what my mother told me. She said, don't hate them, just don't trust them.
Exactly. Well, let me say this to you, Kevin. So if it doesn't make a difference about what's taught, explain to me why you have some people that have a stake set up before they're born, that their great grandfathers have left them.
So they can maintain it and keep control of it.
Maintain it. But then as a young man or a young woman, you come into a system and say, why is it that this person is so much further ahead than I am? They get out of college.
Because they built it. They built the system.
But you know, if it's not taught in history about why, I mean, it's kind of like you want to cover that up. You don't want that to be.
But there's a pragmatism that's missing here. Okay. So, I learned everything about Black history. Boy, I just know everything about Black history. Politics know about Black history. How is that going to help me when I go look for somebody else's job?
You use it for inspiration.
You use it. I'm with you. If you use it to create your own paradigm, yes. I am good with that.
Well, you have one of the wealthiest men in Alabama was living in Birmingham.
Right. I mean, there's a guy right now who I'm going to have on the show pretty soon that is the owner of 30 McDonald's in the state of Alabama. Black guy named Murphy. You know,
Murphy family. Look at the Walmart receipt. I mean, McDonald's receipt. It says Murphy's family.
See, I didn't know it existed until a couple days ago.
He taught. He did a. It may have been 10, 15 years ago now, but he did something in Alabama State. Now it's the first time I've ever seen. And he had I'll tell you exactly. It was 2003 7 Series BMW, and I'd never seen one before. He drove, and I never seen it outside of my dad and my family driving one. I never seen another black man driving a BMW. You know?
Yeah.
But it was important to know that.
Yeah. Okay, let me get this. Well, anyway, I just say it's a. Again, I don't have a problem with the history. I got a problem of what we do with that history. Now, if we don't empower ourselves, if we just don't, right now, I asked a rabbi yesterday. I said, why is it that if you talk about Jewish people, it's persona non grata? Because we are so afraid to even disagree with Jewish people. And he said, well, I don't know. I said, okay. But I got it recorded. We're gonna put it on the air tomorrow because nobody is scared
of the Jews.
Of us.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah,
right. You know,
except us. We're scared of
right. We're scared of us. Can we kill you? But nobody's scared of us because I don't understand. There's power in the things that happen to us.
Well, there's also power in I mean, so I'm not saying that there's many different facets of this discussion that we get into, but I'm just saying, if you're going to teach history in a school system.
But do you think all white history has been taught? Of course not.
But at the same time, they're not teaching the fact that not every black person in this country was a slave during that time either.
And I'm trying to figure out how could you, unless you had a sign on your back saying I'm not a slave, you looked at one.
The name Freeman literally came about in that time. And they were literally free men.
Looks like to me the same group of people who call you free man can also take it away at a moment's notice. So I don't know about it.
And now a shadowy DC club that also attacked Donald Trump is boosting Mo Brooks by launching false attacks against Christian conservative.
When a group of people tell you their true story, history is just like if it comes for Mo.
I don't think you can trust Donald Trump with anything he says.
Yeah, I just want, let's use that. But we have not used that history all these years to empower ourselves. Oh, just saw a list today. You know what the president's doing? The president's now giving people. I'll tell you about it.
I want to get.
Yeah. And welcome back, everybody. Our guest this morning is Carlton Avery.
Good morning.
Who is a local working man, working stiff.
Good morning.
Probably going to run for city council, probably mayor someday. Yeah, that's good. I think he'll be all right in that job, but get a little more experience on you, get a little more history behind you.
That's right.
Yeah, history behind you. Let's see, who can I get right here? Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish you all would stop talking about people. Even y'all got y'all government CPR in classroom, and you know you're not. That's in a small school game. I wish y'all stop cutting up now, equating up those three alphabets with history. And you tell history. If she look at the alphabet history book, she will have to find that book. If she go back and read it, if she read it anytime later, she will have to do away with that book, take it out of the classroom. And you know what the real problem is? When all these people built these museums downtown, these restaurants downtown, catering to history of people of color, they took back the power of making money off of their own culture. That's where the problem is. You have no more profit to make off of someone else's culture. Now, as long as a Rosa Parks Museum is on the corner downtown, and Charter University is doing a wonderful job with it, but when you got the DKI, and have you been downtown lately? All the other places they have developed, that is the problem. And then they're taking the money and using it for worthwhile cause about prison ministry, trying to help people. When you take your own culture back, Alabama State just opened their museum. They have a chance to now establish what they should have done years ago, 20 years ago. And the name has changed on the building. That was done back in 2020 in October. But you know, and the articles in the paper.
Yeah, I saw it.
That's the time let's try to understand that some people have a small brain. They can take back.
Well, some people, I get. Hey, ain't that in my IEP? Okay, that's in my IEP, my small brain. Let me go. Let me see, Dr. Key. Good morning, Dr. Key.
Good morning, Carlton.
I'm great. How are you doing?
Carlton, you are one of my, I highly respect you. I really do. But in this case, and I'm glad you're going to be coming on every other week. That's going to be a great change. I'm looking forward to hearing you when I can. But I'm going to agree to disagree with you on the CRT theory. Reason being that, just some of the callers that you've had today, a couple, one of which I've never heard before. You could tell how young the guy was. I'm going to agree with Kevin, because, Kevin is 2 years older than me, 1 or 2 years older than me. And we didn't experience that. Kevin and I were, Kevin might have been 7, I might have been 5. We didn't know about it. That's one point I want to make. The next point I want to make is I could see it as an elective, but here's what you have right now. We don't even have qualified teachers now in Alabama, especially in our capital city, Montgomery. They can't teach English. They can't, not all of them, but there must be substitutes. We have a shortage of teachers. but we want to go and teach something that people aren't qualified. They tell it right, like what you're talking about. They don't, like, the guy that called it to me was ignorant, said he didn't know what it was, okay? He didn't, but then he went into almost a hate speech.
Right.
And that's exactly what will happen. It's the wrong thing. One thing I want to, there's another thing. In every American history book, okay, at least in high school, I have sat on textbook committee after textbook committee. It's always in there. It's in there. It's Selma. There's so many things. We are still learning it. But it's like some people are trying to throw it down our throat and divide us. And another thing is, I want to invite you to come out today. Today, my kids, black and white, dominant black, 11th and 12th graders, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, this semester I'm going 10th. It's Black History Month. So this week, we're doing a health big discussion that took place in Jackson, Mississippi, at the high school that I went to.
That's right.
Next week, I got this from
but I tell you what, I gotta run. My time's up. But can I give me can I give him your number? He can call you. Can I get?
I'm gonna text you. I do.
You got a number?
Yeah. Actually, I'll get it.
All right. All right. We'll be back. See.
Radio 14.
I really appreciate that.
Huh?
I appreciate her.
I think she'd make one hell of a superintendent of schools.
I know she wants the job.
Challenge. We got to challenge our kids. Stop making excuses for them. What I do is I'll text her.
Will you? That'd be great. I had her number in my old phone. I don't know where.
You called Nate. Of course you got. Yeah, everybody had them.
I had again. Thank you. Hope I didn't cause much problem.
No. But that's just to me what you just did when we did is what
Olympic News, Team USA has earned its first gold medal at Winter Games. Lindsey Jacob Ellis took home the gold in the snowboard cross. The 36-year-old is competing in her fifth Olympic Games and becomes the oldest medalist in that sport. As far as total medals, Norway leads the way right now. Team USA is in 10th place. That's your news on this Wednesday. I'm Jeff Davis in the Newsroom.
News Radio 1440, WLWI AM, the home of the Dan Bongino Show. Also on 95.1 HD3F.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by the Exogen Temporal Scanner.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. At least 2 more states are expected to drop indoor mask mandates today in response to the falling number of COVID cases. Governors of Illinois and New York both have announcements scheduled. Some say they're not ready.
Personally, I would keep my mask on. There's all these sorts of different variants still, emerging.
Massachusetts and Rhode Island could scrap mask mandates in schools. If you've been holding out, now's the time to book a trip to Europe. Correspondent Vicki Barker is at the foreign desk.
The European Union is ready to scrap COVID test requirements for fully vaccinated travelers from the U.S. and other non-EU countries. Official confirmations expected within days, and the new protocols expected to take effect in time for the Easter holidays.
NATO forces hoping to encourage Russia not to invade Ukraine are holding a series of war games nearby. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in Estonia.
If a conflict were to break out in this region, these are exactly the conditions they'd be dealing with. Deep snow and difficult terrain, limited visibility against an enemy that far outnumbers these forces in terms of troops and weaponry.
Tesla's issued yet another recall, this time over windshields that seem to take forever to defrost. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert from Detroit.
Tesla's been receiving complaints from customers and found a software error that could cause the heat pump to work improperly. The issue involves certain 20 to 22 versions of all Tesla models. No crashes or injuries have been reported.
There have been 9 Tesla recalls since October, including 2 last week. One was for seatbelt reminders that don't sound, the other for a software issue that could allow the EVs to roll through stop signs. There are changes coming to TikTok.
The platform is taking new steps to protect the LGBTQ community, including prohibiting misgendering and dead naming.
For a lot of people, that can be really invalidating.
Also, a practice called conversion therapy, which tries to convert LGBT LGBTQ people.
Hurting can be a psychological trigger to some people.
The updated community guidelines also broaden the platform's ban on misogyny, content that promotes eating disorders and TikTok challenges. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Two-time U.S. Olympic champ Michaela Schifrin sat down in the snow and buried her head between her knees in Beijing. She is out of contention for her best event, the women's slalom, after running off course at the Winter Games.
I won't feel awful forever, that's for sure. Just pretty low right now.
She was disqualified from the giant slalom Monday for missing a gate. This is CBS News.
The leading sign of COVID is a fever, so everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Try the Exogen Temporal Scanner and learn more at Exogen.com. That's Exogen.com.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialize in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for the clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Doctors are giving out prescriptions of a different sort north of the border.
Sure, medicine is good when you're sick, but in Canada, the latest prescription is a national Parks Pass. It's part of the new Parks campaign, PARX, as in prescription, to help people with mental health issues. The goal is to encourage patients to spend more time in nature, whether that's a hike, gardening, or just sitting outside. Experts say it can help lower stress, anxiety, and heart rates, and improve self-esteem, especially among children. Right now, the program is limited, but officials hope to expand it to all of Canada by the end of the year. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
Carl Icahn wants McDonald's to stop doing business with pork producers that abuse their pigs.
You know your bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit isn't truly yours.
Tells the Wall Street Journal the fast food chain's gone back on a promise to stop buying from farmers who confine their pregnant swine to cramped crates to prevent aggressive behavior. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
It's time to wake up. Tim James. When you turn on your TV, do you even recognize the country you see? The secular left wants to destroy our country. They want to tear it down. Our leaders tell us that our country is racist to the core and burning down cities is normal. And there are 50 genders. And that's what they're teaching to our kids. This is about our children, children's children. Tim James. And if you disagree with these left-wing bigots, they'll get you fired from your job. The hour's late. This may be our last chance to get it right. Tim James for governor. We're going to stand against the things that are not in the interest of our people, and we're going to be relentless, and we're not going to compromise.
It's a tough time for our state and our country. We need strong, serious leadership.
It is time to fight back.
Learn more at TimJamesGovernor.com. Paid for by Tim James Governor 2022.
Attention River Region. Don't wait on one of those internet companies to hopefully call you back. You'll be disappointed even if they do. Just Blinds and Travel is here to make sure your home has the look and feel of the best American-made window treatments, including motorization and smart home options. Your guests will love them as much as you do. For over 35 years, Just Blinds has been the trusted local source for quality, beauty, and customer satisfaction, serving Lake Martin, Auburn, and the River Region.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Why bet when you can invest? Why bet when you can invest with Masterworks? Masterworks is the new platform that lets you invest in blue chip works
Why
of
don't you
art.
stand
Like
away?
Picasso, Monet, and Warhol. So we'll ask you one more time. Why bet when you can invest? To get priority access, log on to masterworks.art/radio. Before deciding to invest, carefully review the important disclosures at masterworks.io/disclaimer.
They are the two sexiest fat men alive.
Really fun.
And you can hear Rick and Bubba on News Radio 1440, beginning at 9 a.m. Depend on it.
Okay. You see, every time that particular subject is brought up, it just, it's a circular firing squad. I don't know. I think leave it in college, let them try to figure it out on an intellectual, those people who have been educated to some extent and have the ability to use logic and reason, and let them have, I just don't know. And again, we all grown people. A lot of us have been to other countries, seen other cultures, talked to other people, have friends of mixed race. And we still have an issue with it. What do you think kids gonna do? Seriously, if you integrate this into the regular curriculum of public school, it is going to be more divisive than just about anything that we could do. I say teach it in college, junior college, wherever you want to teach it at, and then let those people of fair intellect discuss it amongst themselves. And because first of all, they can vote. If you're in college, you can vote, and you ought to be able to, if you think it's worthy, to put it in our schools. And after a great discussion, so be it. But I think to dump it on kids, and then at that point transfer all that responsibility, all that anger to young kids who do not know how to. We got a hard time with people. If somebody says something on Facebook right now, we've had people beat up and shot on Facebook. What do you think will happen if we get into these conversations in our public schools or on our Facebook? More, I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't mind it being taught, but it must be taught by people of intelligence to people of a modicumness of intelligence, to be able to discuss these, like I and Carlton, that we don't agree that it should be taught, but I agree you ought to have the discussion about teaching it. I don't have a problem with that. But me personally, no, I just don't think kids today I don't think a lot of kids today are mentally mature enough to handle the past. They've never seen it, they've heard about it, and that's all they know. 860-1440 is the number you want to give us a call. We'll talk to you. I'm going to play you guys something here in a few minutes. I think you might find interesting after I take this couple of calls. One call anyway. Good morning. Who's this?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine.
I'm agree with you one time. You right. Wait till you get to college to learn that stuff, because you take some of the people like a gentleman called yesterday, trying to tell us about women, white women. Anyway, these kids are at home with their parents most of the time, right? They got to go back home at the end of the day from school, right?
Well, let's hope so, yeah.
Okay. The parents are going to teach them whatever they want to teach them. They can teach them to hate people or think you're better than that particular race, all of the above, okay? So once the kid gets to college, my baby brother experienced this. He said one of his white classmates came to him and said, "You're nothing like my parents say you were." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well.
So if you got a racist parent at home telling the sons and daughters don't associate with the donkey over there, dark-skinned folks, what they gonna do? At the end of the day, you can go to school and they try to teach this to them and go home and share it with mom and daddy. who they gonna listen to? When mom and dad are threatening to do away with their trust funds and, gonna send you away. Kids get all kind of threats. I've heard some of my classmates used to tell me that back in the day. My mama said, and daddy said, not dad, mostly daddies. And he told me with one of y'all, he's gonna send me away. Okay? So do it in college when the kids can make their own decisions. They're 18 at that time, okay?
Yep.
People don't like to talk about race in a intelligent way, but you got people like Bud yesterday got all out of hand. They got worked up and went a little bit too far to me.
Okay.
But y'all still love you, Bud. I still love you.
All right. Hey, appreciate it. I got let's see if I can take one more call before I get my call from a friend. But no, I just waited. Okay, man, I'll take this one. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, myself.
Good morning.
We be talking about all this history. And when we studied those history books, they never had who's the designer of our city up there called Washington, D.C. did that.
Well, I mean, I was taught that in school.
It wasn't taught down here.
Okay. Well, I mean,
They left it out the book, and they put the Frenchman at and I talked to some of my white friends that studied down South Mobile area.
Mm-hmm.
The Frenchman was in there. But they didn't tell them that the Frenchman ran off and didn't finish what he's supposed to be doing.
Mm.
And so all these things, what we talking about, and that's why it's a big push about this CRT. Is there so many stuff left out of history that we don't want them kids to know that we left it out for a reason.
Right, but there have been multitudes and multitudes of information left out of all of history. If you want history told, you need to tell it. You need to tell it. You need to tell your history.
How could you leave the founding city, the biggest city that we talk about, our government city, and that history about how that city was established and everything else went on with it?
But it wasn't always to see the power in America.
It is now.
Yeah, it is now, and everybody knows. Anybody who wants to know something can find it. I believe Philadelphia and Congress used to meet in New York.
No, you talking about when they met. I'm talking about we meet in different places now. I'm talking about
right.
When the city government came and they set that city government down and they set it in Washington, D.C. for a reason.
Right, I guess because it was right because they didn't want it to be a state. It had to be an entity all of its own.
And we didn't teach it.
Well, they told the judge up in Indiana.
Well, that's what you say.
Up in Indiana, I mean, they told the judge.
So that's why y'all always talk about the folks down south. How don't we all? We didn't teach the history.
Well, I mean, But there's no reason in the world. No way. There's no reason in the world why you can't find anything you want to find out in a couple of seconds. Hey Siri.
Well, that's now. But go back when they were teaching it. That when you talking about some of these same folks raising all in hell about this food system, you couldn't go out there and get on the internet and find it then.
Well, no, you couldn't. But most of us couldn't afford encyclopedias either back in the day. But some had them. Yeah, we had them too. Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you start looking at what was taught in school, because you didn't have the encyclopedia at home.
Mm-hmm. But even the encyclopedia, right? But even the encyclopedia, depending on which one you got, we're not all the same.
I'm just trying to say, so if that's the case, then you can stop talking about put a break them because their things going to be left out of it too. So why not you?
Exactly. Okay.
So now, that's what I'm saying. So if you say all this stuff is left out, what's different than leaving some more out?
Okay, well, bro, again, listen. I don't know, but nobody can ever tell all of history. It will never be told.
We understand.
Right.
We understand that. And that's why we kept talking about why are these people raising so much hell about these schools, and we know we don't left so much out.
Yeah. All right. Hey, gotta take a break. We'll be back right after this message.
FA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440.
This report is sponsored by Total Wine and More. Total Wine and More is your big game headquarters for local craft beers, bourbons, cabernets, seltzers, and more. And
they want me to solve all the problems. I cannot do it.
At Total Wine
I cannot do it.
Beautiful day on the way today for our Wednesday. It's a very cold start with frost out there in the upper 20s and low 30s. Keep that in mind as you head out the door. But nothing but sunshine today will warm us up nicely into the mid-60s. We'll hit 65 degrees with the wind around 5 to 10 miles an hour. So a really nice day. Tonight, another cold one down into the mid-30s with mostly clear skies. And another day with plenty of sunshine tomorrow. We're in the upper 60s and we'll hit the low 70s on Friday with more sunshine. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury for News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. We've got an accident, South Perry at East Fairview. That's an accident with injury, so please use caution. That's about a block off Court Street. So South Perry at East Fairview, we've got an accident with injury. Whether you're ready to buy or refinance your home, for the lowest rates, the best customer service, and the fastest closings, there's only one company, MCS in Wetumpka, 567-9000, and MLS 232-876. Buckle up, it's the law. For Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, this is Major Delay.
When it comes to tires, bald ain't so beautiful. It's time for a tire makeover at Chico's Auto Pros. Better price, better experience, guaranteed. 239-9510.
Growing up in rural Alabama, John Lewis was denied the right to vote. On March 7, 1965, he joined the march from Selma to Montgomery. 5 months later, President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law.
First thing, I've got to be able to figure out how to pronounce the name.
We salute civil rights activist John Lewis during Black History Month.
Joe and his good friend OG not only has great financial insight, it's laid back with humor too.
Will the performance of the S&P 500 in 2022?
I don't know where you pronounce that name.
It's been negative so far. Let's see how negative it is now. And that would make sense. Did I just say the Magic 8 Ball would make sense?
50% of the time, it's right every time.
Second Benjamins, listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Ron's Roofing knows that when a storm damages your roof, it's hard to know what to do next. Easy. Rely on the most trusted and recognized roofing name, Ron's Roofing. They'll help protect you from the next storm. Ron's Roofing understands that your roof is your home's first line of defense. That's why they work with all insurance companies to ensure that your home is protected from any unexpected storms. The job won't get the Ron's Roofing name on it unless it's done right. Visit ronsroofing.com or call 215-0070.
Career politician Mo Brooks. Did he always support Donald Trump? No. In 2016, he said,
I was just asked a little while ago if I'm going to endorse Donald Trump, and I said, no, I'm not.
Did Mo Brooks always trust Trump? No. Again, he said,
I don't think you can trust Donald Trump with anything he says.
Did Mo think Trump would deliver as president? No. Saying again.
A lot of people who have supported Donald Trump, they're going to regret having done so. Donald Trump is not going to do what people think he's going to do.
Whoa, Mo. Say it ain't so. And now a shadowy DC club that also attacked Donald Trump is boosting Mo Brooks by launching false attacks against Christian conservative Katie Britt. Katie Britt has always been 100% pro-Trump. And as for Mo,
I don't think you can trust Donald Trump with anything he says.
That would be a no. Alabama's Future Paid For is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Alabama'sFuturePact.com.
Septic tanks are used where municipal sewers are not available, and maintenance is important. Failing septic tank systems can endanger your family, pollute the environment, and can be expensive to repair. You can prevent your system from failing by having your tank pumped every 3 to 5 years, keep a separate container for grease, and dispose of it properly. Use detergents, low phosphates, and spread laundry over several days as to not overload the system with too much water. This message brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and this station.
He is the voice of the conservative party, the Ben Shapiro Show.
They're not going to be willing to keep the government shut down.
Today at 3 p.m. on News Radio.
Okay, everybody, we are back. Interesting conversation this day, even though sometimes you guys leave me all confused. But right now, there's one thing I am not confused about. I am not confused about who to send you to if you are in need of a loan. You need some salad. You need some cheddar. you need some cheese, otherwise known as money. Now, I'm not confused about this. The only person I can send you to is Mortgage Corporation of the South, on top of the mountain, all the way up there in the great city of Wetumpka, Alabama. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Kevin. You ever been around somebody that'll say, well, you know what, I think that fella's smarter than people give him credit for, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You know what, I think you're smarter than most people give you credit for, because you're right about that cheddar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are right, my friend.
Yeah.
Mortgage Corporation of the South, we are the complete mortgage and loan center. We are located on top of the mountain in Wetumpka, and we do answer our phone when you call. That is a fact. You know, we're a mortgage and loan center, so we can help you out on a lot of different fronts. First off, let's talk about you have good credit. You have good credit, you want to buy a home, how about a 1 hour pre-approval? All you have to do is call, fast closing. If you want to refinance your home, how about the same thing, 1 hour pre-approval. And for you veterans, you can do one of six things. You can either refinance for a lower rate, there's no out-of-pocket expenses, no appraisal, no income verification. It's so easy. That's the VA interest rate reduction loan program, still available, the EARL. Or also, you can borrow up to 100% of the value of your home if you're a veteran. If you have a home there and you want to redo your VA loan and go up to 100% cash out, don't get any better than that. We have those available, 1 hour pre-approval, fast closing. You use the money any way you like, home improvement, debt consolidation, list goes on and on. Now, if you want to do a straight refinance, we also have those available. And here's where we really shine. If you have less than perfect credit, let's say you have a home that's paid for or almost paid for, or you have some acreage, some land, and your credit's not perfect. Maybe you've already gone to the bank. Maybe you need to get a little loan on your home. Doesn't have to be a big loan. Might be $10,000, might be $20,000, $30,000. We don't have a minimum loan. But you know, you might need a loan on your home. You might need to put a new roof on it, make some repairs, you know, new HVAC system, the glare and heat, whatever the case, or you might just want to pay off the tic-tac bills that you have. Doesn't matter. If your credit's less than perfect, hey, we're here to help you out, and we can make equity loans to you. So if you have a home that's paid for or almost paid for, or some real estate, you need a loan on it, you want a company that'll do business with you and not just turn you down because you're not perfect on the credit score sheet, hey, we're the company to call. You can also rebuild your credit through the same process. All you do is make sure you have the payments on time. But we help a lot of folks up here in Wetumpka, and I tell you what, we're going to bring some testimonials to the page. There's a lot of people who want to do that, so we'll put them together so we can air them before we let you hear some of them. But that's what we do, and we're here. We're open for business, and all you got to do is make that call. So set it up, Mr. Kevin. Tell everybody how to contact us, and I'll let the legal people stuff, and we'll chat again about this same time tomorrow. And make sure before the end of the day you go get you some of that.
Shut up. That's right. Absolutely. It is Mortgage Corporation of the South, all the way up there on the mountain in Wetumpka, Alabama. 567-9000 is the number. 567-9000. Let me see if I can get this NMLS number. And I got it. 232-876. Thanks a lot, John. Yeah. Appreciate it. All right.
Have a good one, man.
You too. All right. All right, then. Let me take another call before I go any place. All right. Good morning. Thanks for holding. See that you didn't get dumped this time. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Now you better. Yes.
Good. I see you rent-free caught up again. Nash talked about me, which is funny. I live rent-free in his mind. And he was saying I melted down yesterday. Let's try and flesh out the conversation that we had yesterday. If you are a parent and you have a child in, say, Lee High School, such as yourself, and you want to contact the principal as the parent, that's a good thing. Would you agree?
Sure. If you can contact the principal.
Okay. If you want to at the same time schedule a interview or discussion with the teacher of your child,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even the principal at the same time, that's a good thing. Would you agree?
Okay, but let's stop with the elementary stuff and just try to get to the point here. Where are we going?
Just trying to make sure we're trying. Okay, here's the point. What the teacher does not have the, what the parent does not have the right to do is contact your school board member and ask them to intervene.
Why not?
Okay. You said being elementary.
Right, they're my school board member. They're my school board member, though.
What were the two reasons that
I don't care what they said. Yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care what they said. I don't care what they say because, but if I want my school board member to go to Lee High School and find out what the hell's going on, I expect them to find out. Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
They cannot.
They can.
You know, you are a wise man, and this is why I do not understand why you have the inability to understand. You are in the Army.
They can do it.
A general
Mm-hmm.
might be able to intervene with an NCO or a
Mm-hmm.
private first class.
That's right.
Does he?
Totally. A general is not. No. A general's not elected. A general's not elected.
I am trying to draw you a picture so you somehow can.
I will never comprehend that. No, if I voted for you to be my, well, I'm sorry. Well, I got one. I got one.
The Board of Education has ruled that the Montgomery Board of Education was in violation of the state in interfering in the day-to-day operations, and as a result,
right,
it was taking over.
That was not the only reason. That was not the only reason why they were taking over. Well, I want my representative. Yeah, I want. If well, hey. Okay, and I don't know if that's wait a minute. I know about the money, but I do not believe there is a law that prohibits my state, my representative on the school board from talking to anybody in that school. There may be a policy, but I don't believe there's a law. Again, listen, they can say whatever they want to say. I don't understand it. I voted for this person, and they're part of that chain of command, and I want them to talk. If I need them to talk to that principal or talk whoever the hell else up there, I want them to do it.
Okay, Kevin, then if you honestly believe that there was no policy, there was no procedure, there was no law, then why did you not get off your lazy ass and sue the State Board of Education, saying they had no right to interfere with the Montgomery County Board of Education?
Okay. Now that is a great question, because I, as Kevin Elkins, the mouth of the South, I have more power in this microphone than I got going to a lawyer, because I was trying to give them a shot at it. I was trying to give them a chance to work it out. They haven't worked it out yet.
Do you understand? Okay, how about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Montgomery County Board of Education,
right,
that the state was in error in violation of their rights, that they had no right to mandate, that they could not interfere. Do you not think for 1 second?
Wait a minute.
The Montgomery County Board of Education would have used their lawyers to?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that the Board of Education is so politically correct right now, they wouldn't do much of anything. Absolutely not. Okay. Whenever, but because they're all a bunch of Democrats. Most of them are Democrats. Yeah, only if it serves them personally. Hey, listen. We are never going to agree on this. I want if I call my board member up who I helped elect, and I want them to talk to somebody at that stupid school, I want them to talk to them.
Question: does the Montgomery County Board of Education, are they subservient to the State Board of Education?
Nope.
They follow the rules of the State Board. Really?
Nope. The State Board of Education can only do administrative things, but they can't come down and fire anybody.
I didn't say that. What I said was, do they not have to do, from an administrative standpoint, since you use that term, if the State Board of Education said tells to the Montgomery County Board of Education, you will do A, B, C, and D administratively.
Oh, well, right. I mean, I guess if I'm looking at a chain of command on a board, I guess they would be on top, but they really don't have much power either. They're all a bunch of bureaucrats who make. They didn't change. They didn't change jack. They didn't change a thing. They got a little extra money, right? Because they got extra money from us. We didn't need it anyway. We didn't need it. Okay. Well, whatever. I still want. Hey, listen. I still want my. Okay, appreciate it. We've had this conversation long enough. Because I can change my mind. If I call my Board of Education member, I want them to get on the phone and talk to whoever the hell I need them to talk to find out what happened. That is why we have elected officials. And that's one of the problems we have, except for Dr. King. That's one of the problems I have with people on the school board. Well, not all of them. Some of them do it. Some of them do too. But why do we give you a job if you cannot do anything? If you're telling me that they're not accountable to me as a voter and a citizen of Montgomery, then we don't need one. Okay? So I look at, I said, give me a Joe Clark and a Rita Pearson all in one, and I'm a happy camper. Okay? But I ain't going for the rest of that crap. All right? We just ain't going there. I want Dr. Lisa Keith. If I call Dr. Keith and say, hey, what's going on over there? I need her to find out. Because obviously, if the problem had been taken care of, it never would have got to my ears. Okay, gets to my ears, I bring it to your ears, and I bring a hell of a lot more to her ears when things go wrong that I think are wrong. Okay, now let me take one more call before I go my next break here. You guys got me all messed up here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing fine.
I agree with you on the returning phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple things I want to put on the table this morning. And one of them, I understand that Dr. Winston is one of the top 10 for Lee. That's a good nomination. When he didn't get reelected, if you go back, this is history right here in Montgomery, right? And sometimes when you're in the forest, it's hard to see the trees. But I hadn't been here that long when that happened, and I didn't really know the players, but I can document to you the downfall of all the schools because they were still integrated basically. You had what's the guy, McCracken or whatever his name is, used to coach Lee, had a tremendous football program with people like Ware, and you had Jeff Davis. In Carver there was a city competition. The Crampton Bowl would be full. It looked like an all-American city. And then all of a sudden, here's the litmus test this morning, or your literacy test. Who defeated Dr. Winston? And now, don't answer it right now. Let's see if some of the listeners know. The other thing is returning calls. I mentioned to you, I had to call my city councilman, which he was not involved other than he helped me from a piece of property that I have from just being totally destroyed. And the city council person over that district has yet to call me. And I bet you I called her 2 or 3 times. I asked you, you told me that you told her. We have gotten to the point where they have detached themselves from their responsibility to us. How else can we address education, the city, the county, if anything, if not through your representative? And, those of you out there, you need to really look at that. We didn't elect you to go hide. And like you said about the teacher yesterday, I'm just concerned about my check. And that's where we are in America right now. Have a great day.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, I don't go voting just for the hell of it. I don't vote a person in office just to vote a person in office. I vote a person in office because I hope and I demand that they are accountable to the people that put them in office. I don't give a crap what, I almost said the wrong word there. I don't give a crap what the State Board of Education says. Okay, they don't represent me. Hell, they don't even know me. As a matter of fact, who the hell is on the State Board of Education? I know whoever took Tania Stewart's place, I haven't heard from them since they've been down there. Haven't heard from them. Stephanie Bell is still down there. Anybody hear from her often? No. No, I expect you to be, but she's not my representative. She's my representative. No, she isn't. They move me in another place. So I don't just vote for the hell of it. Because I can just stay home and watch Gunsmoke or something that day. I vote because I want you accountable to me and the other citizens, not just to me, of course. I'm not that important. But, really, I don't want to care nothing about that crap. Well, you can't go talk to them directly. Yeah, I'm going to talk to them directly. They're asking me for my vote directly, so I'm going to talk to them. And I will say Dr. Keith is probably the only person down there now, I know there's a couple more people down there that care about the kids. I love that. That gets me warm all over. That just makes me feel really good. What did they change? What do they do? We'll be back. Okay. I'm gonna give Eureka Smith a little more credit too, because she always returns my calls. She talks to me. I give her some credit too, but she's not my representative. We'll be back after this. Yeah, I'm gonna use this microphone. Doggone straight. We'll be back.
Is sponsored by Indeed.com. Hiring can be a headache. That's why there's Indeed, a hiring platform that removes the hassle. Sponsor a job and immediately get a short list of quality candidates. And you can schedule and conduct video interviews right on your site. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Another beautiful day on the way today for our Wednesday. It's a very cold start with frost out there in the upper 20s and low 30s. Keep that in mind as you head out the door, but nothing but sunshine today will warm us up nicely into the mid-60s. We'll hit 65 degrees with a wind around 5 to 10 miles an hour, so a really nice day. Tonight, another cold one down into the mid-30s with mostly clear skies, and another day with plenty of sunshine tomorrow. We're in the upper 60s, and we'll hit the low 70s on Friday with more sunshine. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Sabry for News Radio.
Montgomery Skywatch traffic brought to you by Brubaker Motors. Is better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Hello, Montgomery. Right now, things are looking good. Nothing's being reported that would send anyone on an alternate route. We checked with the surrounding counties. They're clear as well. You keep listening, and we'll keep you posted
I
with the latest
expect him to be accountable.
traffic conditions on the radio. Spring 2022 mini-term B registration is open at Trenholm State. Classes begin March 7th. Call Trenholm State today and change your life. Buckle up. It's the law. From Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, this is Vegas.
The tires, bald, ain't so beautiful. It's time for a tire makeover at Chico's Auto Pro.
Chico's Auto Pro.
239-9510.
I like the way he says that, Chico.
Make your mark with historic savings during the President's Day event at Thomas & Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Save big on your new Ram truck. They have more coming every day. And be presidential in the all-new Wagoneer. It's here now and ready for you. Plus, your trade-in has never been worth more. They give you the most for your trade-in. The best vehicles are always at DallasAutomotive.com. Where you drive a little, save a lot. For credit, plus minus your credit check out from Dillard James Factory. CFC dealer for Dillard.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrealipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9.
Attention Alabama voters, stand by for a Republican election alert. President Donald J. Trump has endorsed conservative Mo Brooks for U.S. Senate in the Alabama Republican primary. Repeat, Trump endorses Brooks for Senate. Speaking at a rally here in Alabama, President Trump repeatedly praised Mo Brooks.
Mo is someone who has fought harder than anyone else in Congress. He's got courage. He's an honest guy. He is really a fighter. With conservative patriots like Mo Brooks fighting for us in Washington, I have never been more confident that we will defeat the radical left. Your next U.S. Senator from Alabama, Mo Brooks.
That was President Trump endorsing Mo Brooks for U.S. Senate. Conservative Mo Brooks, the Trump Republican choice for U.S. Senate. Paid for by Club for Growth Action, clubforgrowthaction.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
As we begin the year 2022, Dr. Michael Irwin, a Montgomery orthodontist, would like to offer you some good news. He's reducing his fees for braces by 20% the entire year. This represents a substantial savings of more than $1,000 for a typical case. Due to historic inflation, where the price of gas, food, cars, and almost anything else you buy has increased, this is a golden opportunity for a family to save significant money on their child's orthodontic treatment. Dr. Irwin has been successfully treating patients for more than 40 years in the Montgomery area. You'll also love his friendly and helpful staff, who has been helping him take care of patients for decades. The Montgomery family has been loyal to him, and he looks forward in 2022 to this opportunity to give back. They encourage you to take advantage of this special offer by calling his office today for a no-cost evaluation at 279-6910. That's 279-6910.
Come fix my home, Bill Bradley. Come fix my home.
Bill Bradley Services is going to help you stay warm and toasty this winter with the Bill Bradley Services $50 off HVAC repair discount. This $50 discount is our way of saying thanks for over 50 years of fixing your home. Call now to schedule your HVAC repair and save $50. Bill Bradley Services, the region's only certified room dealer.
Bill Bradley, won't you please fix my home?
Certificate number 8444.
Telling it like it really is. It's the Dan Bongino Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440.
Okay, knock myself out. Alrighty then. Hey, I got it. You know what I always, every time we find somebody that's in a bad way, we try to help with our fund downstairs in the bank. And there's a young man. Before I come to the phone, there's a young man who is enduring cancer treatment at the same time, trying to work, but his car is all messed up and broke down. And we're going to try to get him something that he can just get back to work on. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to raise $1,000. If you can, I'm trying to get him on the phone with us so we can talk to him. And I got a friend that's going to go to the auction and help him get a car. If we can raise $1,000 for this guy, he just, sometimes you got to reach out and help. And that's what I'm going to ask my audience to do one more time. Let me go to the phone right quick, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute here. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, kid.
Good morning.
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
Mhm.
Yes, the gentleman, he's a hard worker, and he works 2 jobs at restaurants at night. He has to go to the council center some days, and days he come to work, he just be like drained, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And he expressed to me, as nobody personal that I just came to know him from being around, and just kind of felt a need to try to help him. He never asked for anything,
Mhm.
but he we just in conversation. He told us about how he took care of his dad a few years ago, and his dad consequently passed away, and that's all he had. And he went on to tell us, he goes to treatment. He
Right.
didn't say, what for, but he did say the council center. And some days it just looked like he just struggling to make it, and doesn't have a ride. Doesn't have a ride. Have to hop a ride to work and on, and his demeanor never changed.
But he does now. He does have a car, but the car is broke down, and so when we right.
He said some time ago, and he was trying to get it repaired, and
Right.
The people kept telling him they could get this and get that, but nobody ever really came through to try to get the engine that he needed or whatever repairs he needed.
Mhm.
And the car just been sitting, and he's just been walking or hopping around.
Right, and dealing with cancer, right,
Yeah, and then if you're dealing with that,
dealing with cancer and the work. Well, I'm gonna put the first right. And I talked to my guy the other day, and anywhere from $800 to $1,000, he'll be able to get him a car, and because it's going to cost more than that to fix the car he has, the engine's no good in it, and all that kind of stuff. And then even if he gets the car fixed and put the engine back in, there's always something else. And going through cancer treatment is tough enough when you don't have those issues. But he's actually working. He's actually working every day, and I know he's got to be drained and going through cancer treatment. So anyway, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to a helping hand. You can make any check out to a helping hand, send it up here, 1 Commerce Street, or go to any Service First Bank. I'm gonna put the first $100 on it, and so all we need now is 9. Okay, I may put 2. Yeah, who knows? It depends on what I got in my bank account down there. But so we can do that.
And thank you for what you do, and above all, we certainly solicit prayer for the gentleman, and we hope he does well. I'll put my part in as well.
Right. All right. So and we like to do this in the next couple of weeks, by the end of the month, and be able to help the guy out, because it's getting cold. It just he's in a tough situation, okay? Because you know I don't normally come to the airwaves to beg for money except during Christmas. But
Well, thank you
all right,
very much. And he was starting to be appreciative of whatever help we get him, I'm sure.
okay, thanks, man.
And thank you.
And again, make any checkout, make it out to Helping Hand, or you can go to any Service First Bank. We're just trying to raise $1,000 to help the kid get a car. I mean, we're dealing with cancer, dealing with a job, can't get back. It's tough. I think you'll be thoroughly blessed if you help. Now, if you want to write the whole check for $1,000, let me find out $500. We appreciate that. But he's got a car that's broke down, engine on the floor, and he's working and getting cancer treatment at the same time. So we're just trying to get him something so he can get a respectable, not respectable, but a dependable ride to work. All right, that's what we're trying to do. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. How you doing?
Fine.
Okay, I wanted to make a comment about your representative being able to go directly to a teacher. They can't do that.
They're not supposed to do that, right?
Listen, what the representative can do is go to the state. I mean, not the state, but the Montgomery County Board of Education superintendent and request that an investigation be conducted.
Yeah.
So that's how that will be handled.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I told the residents in the city before, we are called stakeholders. Now, the Chamber of Commerce is probably a stakeholder. The mayor is a stakeholder. The county, those politicians, they're considered stakeholders too. But the thing about it, they don't listen to us, but they listen to the other people.
That's true, but I still want my representative to go talk to somebody when I ask her to talk to them.
But yeah, that's sad, but you have to get off your, and take action also.
And I do.
You're saying that you're going to keep talking about it on the radio. Talk is key.
Well,
we got to show up in force at these meetings and demand that they consider some of the demand that they look at our concerns and address our concerns as residents. But we don't do that. They can care less about what we think. But if you have the Chamber of Commerce, that's why they are able to tell them this is how much we'll put in for a superintendent to help you out. So who's going to continue to pay that salary? It's the residents of this city. So stop complaining. Okay, I see that all people are waking up now to the situation that's been going on for years. But if you do not demand that they listen to us, it's not going to happen.
I want to see the law where it says my representative can't have a conversation with the principal of a school.
You should not interfere.
I didn't say interfere. I didn't say interfere. I said, show me where it's in the law they can't have a conversation.
You can go to the superintendent. You hire the superintendent. The board hires the superintendent.
But I voted for my representative.
It's because the superintendent is responsible for the day-to-day operation.
And nobody's trying to take that over. Nobody's trying to take that over. But show me where my elected representative cannot have a conversation with anybody at a local school that they represent.
Why don't you ask me to show you in the law where you're a stakeholder? Why don't you be concerned about that?
Because I know I'm a stakeholder.
Under the county boards of education.
And I know I'm a stakeholder, paying taxes. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. But again, I just want to know, everybody keep hearing that. Show me where the law says she can't talk to anybody in the school. Oh.
Talk to them about a certain issue concerning a particular parent or student.
Why can't she?
Because she is not part of the superintendent.
Okay. And if the superintendent, if the superintendent is not getting it done, then whose responsibility does it go to? And we know how long that takes. We know how long that takes. Now that's our problem. So that's why I'm going to my board member. So, and that's what I'm doing. Right. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm doing. I am. That's what we're doing. All right.
I want to tell your boss, thank you so much for what you did. We do appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, at least we can actually listen on the radio. Good morning. Who's this?
You must not remember Mary Bryant telling white folks they can't go in school properly without permission from the superintendent.
Again, I don't really care about that conversation. All I know is if I'm helping pay somebody to represent me, then you represent me. I don't care who my representative is. I'm not going to help elect you, and you gonna tell me you can't do nothing? No, that don't fly. That just don't fly with me. I want my if jobs are not getting done because I do try to use the chain of command. I do try to use the chain of command. But sometimes the chain of command just don't work, especially when it comes to bureaucrats. Just doesn't work. Okay, so I use what I got to get where I need to go, and this is all about all the kids. It's not just about mine. It's about all of them. To relegate them to unimportance in a traditional public school. And that's what they've done. In the traditional schools, they have relegated them to unimportance. Look at the environment, the learning environment in most public schools today, not just in Alabama, across the nation. It's a shame and a disgrace. And whoever lets kids come to school with these stupid ass haircuts, I don't know. Stupid haircuts. And so now when you walk into school looking like a fool, they're going to treat you like a fool. Okay? We got a dress code that's hardly ever mandated. Okay? I'm just wondering, why do we have rules if people don't follow the dress code? I don't know. But anyway, that's just me. But no, I mean, think about this for a second. One of the reasons why when you go in the military, everybody gets a haircut. You know why they get a haircut? Because they all start even. You don't look like a fool by the head. Because when you walk in that school, people look at you and they think to themselves, what the hell is that? And you start treating people like, what the hell is that? Okay? Now their focus is on your head as opposed to what's inside your head. I personally think we need a haircut. We need a standard haircut in public school. And we don't need all these freaking. Now, I'm sitting in school the other day, right? People coming out with ear things in their ear for the cell phone. How do you learn in a classroom with your earphones to your phone in your ear? How do you do that? I mean, how do you really expect people to learn if you allow them to talk on the phone in the classroom? And they come out of the classroom, because I watched it the other day. They come out of the classroom with phone things on. They got those little thingamajigs now with one in both ears. How in the hell you learn something? I can understand taking the phone to school. Lunchtime, hey, have a great time. When your lunch break, talk to whoever you want to talk to. Emergency comes up, run out to your locker, get the phone. But then let kids bring their phone to the class. It's crazy. It's crazy. We can't get them to learn now when there's nothing but a clock on the wall. So it's just, to me, it's crazy. I mean, who in the hell came up with that idea was an idiot. Okay? Whoever came up with the idea of allowing youngsters to carry cell phones into the classroom is a damn idiot. And I don't care who it is. Okay? I mean, you can't keep the attention of a teenager now when they don't have nothing. And now you're gonna give them Minecraft. You're gonna give them Facebook. You're gonna give them Instagram, TikTok, all in the classroom, and you're telling me they're learning. Right. Mm-hmm. And I want to give some props to some kids who are on the Presidential International. They won some awards last week. Now I don't want to mess up. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. And they all belong to our magnet schools. Everybody who won was in a magnet school. It is not that the other kids outside magnet schools cannot do as well. We just don't seem to think that they can. But all these kids, I got the names of them all these kids won these awards, and they all went to magnet schools. And the only reason why some of the kids in the traditional school are not in magnet schools is because they didn't hit the lottery. They just didn't hit it. But if you made every school, if we attempted to make every school a magnet quality school as it retains to education, our kids would still be better off then than they are now. Okay, so I'm done. So now I'm not going to shut up, and I'm not going to I'm not going to get off. I want my representative to talk to whom I ask her to talk to. Now, if they don't want to talk to her, that's on them. But I've been hearing this chain coming. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. And ain't nothing getting done. Okay. And I'm not telling you what I'm thinking. I'm telling you what I know. Okay. It's just to me, it's a messed up situation. Okay. That's just where it goes. Anyway, my time is up. I've had a great time today. I want to thank Mr. What is his name again? Okay. So we got his name already. That's sometime I remember. Sometime I remember, and sometime I don't. Okay, but he'll be back week after next. And next week, of course, is going to be, if I don't have a guest, a political guest, is going to be Mr. Jenkins. Well, anyway, I got to go, folks. So my time is up. As Jim Fife used to say, I thank you for yours.
USFA 12 News Update on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, I'm Judd Davis. Here's what's happening in the news on this Wednesday.
Hello.
Steal an ATM from the Regions Bank on Highway 14 overnight. That forklift was left at the bank. The last check, Prattville police have not made any arrests. Regions is helping police with that investigation. A committee is looking at new names for Jeff Davis and Lee High Schools in Montgomery. Out of the thousands of names submitted,
yeah, that's going to change the culture.
The top name for Jeff Davis right now is Carter Hill. The top name for Lee is Dr. John Winston. The school board will have the final say on any name changes. Olympic news: Team USA has earned its first gold medal in the Winter Games. Lindsey Jacob Ellis took home the gold in the snowboard cross. The 36-year-old is competing in her 5th Olympic Games and becomes the oldest medalist in that sport. As far as total medals, Norway leads the way right now. Team USA is in 10th place. That's your news on this Wednesday.
Yeah, we don't do too good on the cold thing.
WLWI AM, the home of the Ben Shapiro Show, and heard on 95.1 HD3 FM, Montgomery.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is scheduled to speak in an hour from now and announce the state's indoor mask mandate will be lifted at the end of the month. A senior state official says it will only happen, though, if COVID cases keep falling. And Pritzker will not get rid of school mandates despite protests.
That's right, y'all. It's my children. They're my responsibility to teach them around here now and to get the masks on.
New York's governor is expected to announce an end to indoor mask mandates today as well. NATO forces are hoping to encourage Russia not to invade Ukraine by holding war games in nearby Estonia. Pope Francis is weighing in. He's urging a diplomatic solution, calling war insanity. Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono.
It is in some ways really difficult to predict what Putin has in mind, except when you amass over 100,000 troops. I don't know how he's